2 hours and about 10 kilometres
Yeah, see,
per
I
hour
think,
slower.
I don't know if that's right. Like, because you get on a plane at midday in Sydney and you arrive at 1985 in Perth.
That's a lie.
They are.
That's a lie.
They are. It's a good thing,
They're ahead of us
though.
in so many different ways.
I mean, I'm not saying they're not ahead.
Yeah.
But like, especially like, a
They
good
got
way.
beautiful spaces.
Oh, look, a way
they
that-
look after their shit. Like, they got it going on.
WA is actually ahead of the curve in a very important aspect, actually.
Digital registration for your car.
Oh no! Well, I suppose. well, it's on the
You can pay
same.
it online. No pink slips.
It's on the same ilk. I think every other state doesn't do pink slips. I think it's only New South Wales.
Just
I think.
New South Wales still
Yeah,
hanging
Queensland
on to
doesn't do
the
it.
80s.
Tassie might do it. South Australia doesn't do it. Queensland doesn't do it.
Yeah.
I don't think they even have cars in the Northern Territory. I'm not sure. We're just talking about Impaja, actually. You ever watched Impaja?
No.
Well, yeah, not missing much.
What's
Sorry, Bruce Gordon. He's going to come to get me. He's a billionaire.
it's a
He's a
channel.
billionaire. He's coming to get me.
It's a channel.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It's
I've
it's
heard
like the
about that.
wind for Northern Territory.
Yeah.
And they do have the cars in the Northern Territory. Territorians, don't be offended. I don't think I have any listeners or viewers there, so I've got to really shape up or ship out, buddy.
It'll lift your game.
Lift my game
the
so I
top
can get
end.
that. So I can get the top end.
Yep.
I want to get that. See you in the NT audience out there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. No,
Sparking need.
Perth, the WA. They're very ahead on environmental issues in my view. Very far ahead of the rest of the country. Look what's going on with gas. They have a gas reserve. They've foreseen that there's going to be a gas shortage. So they go, well, the gas company's got to put some aside. They said it was impossible. Turns out it worked out okay.
Further ahead than South Australia, you think, that's trying to get off the grid, or Tasmania, that's 100% renewable.
Oh no, but they're also in the same ilk. But I'd say that WA certainly is the front runner. Desalination of water, water management.
That's true.
There's no such thing as climate skeptics in WA. That's not a
Really?
thing. No.
I don't know about that.
No. Well,
But
there
ask a few
are.
old people that I know.
Yeah, but if you can talk to the populace though. But I'm talking about industry.
Yeah,
If you look
right.
at how industry is setting up over in WA, it's not a part of the debate.
Yeah.
It's just they know that there's a water shortage
Yeah.
because there's no fucking water. Like it's an easy equation to draw. You're like, oh, no fucking water. There must be
know
an environmental cause to this.
That if we're going to run out, the East Coast is going to take everything, so they need to shore up what they've got.
Annexation.
access
They're going to go.
to
They're going to
straight
annex.
away.
They're going to
Otherwise,
do.
we're
WA
getting
will
the shit
annex,
later
man.
on.
They'll be. What's it called? Is it annexation?
I think so.
Is it
Yeah.
annexation? WA will annex itself before they hand over anything.
Yeah.
I think because I think there is a bit of that culture over in WA, as I say in a high pitched voice. There is a bit of a culture over there for that. They're like bloody
yeah.
East Coasters. Like a Victorian is the same thing to a New South Welshman for a Western
Well,
Australian. They're all East Coasters.
But when you're talking about a coast, you'd have a west coast and an east coast. They are absolutely generalising the entire coast together. If they were just talking about New South Welshmen, a word that I learnt when I first arrived here, they would just go, those people from New South Wales.
Those people from New South Wales. Yeah, but I am a New South Welshman. I think that's where you probably learned it from. Do I say it like that? Am I that pompous when I say it?
Well,
Fuck.
Anybody that hears it for the first time is like, what? It's like being a Novocastrian.
A Novocastrian.
From Newcastle.
Newcastle.
Yeah.
Is that what they call Newcastle?
they're
I thought it'd be Newcastleian, but that's not going to work, is it?
No.
Newcastrian.
It's a person
Ooh,
from
that is
Newcastle.
good.
It's a
Newcastrian.
Novocastrian.
Oh, I'm a Novocastrian.
Yeah.
Don't know why I sassed that up, but it just sounded a little bit better.
Well, yeah, wouldn't you though? If
Totally.
during COVID, the East Coast was rife with pandemic status, and here you are on the West Coast enjoying relative freedom. Wouldn't you also shut the door?
They had a very different experience, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a better lived experience. They still went out and still
Yeah.
functioned as a society. They just functioned as an annexed, where's your papers, get out of my country scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those guys got charged from the football too. They went to a grand final that was in WA.
Yeah, people were jumping the border. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they did jail time, I'm pretty sure.
Did they?
Yeah.
Like a few days or like
Months.
50 days? Really?
Yeah, they did like 3 months jail for that. Those two blokes got caught for it. So they were fucking serious, man. Stay out. Where's your papers?
Yeah.
And because if you
You
don't,
saw the border crossing. Cops everywhere. Passes.
yeah, but there's the camel lady though. The camel lady.
Who's the
Camel lady. Hey, Wade. And it's good to have you back, by the way, Wade.
Hey, Wade.
And I've got young Yarn. Can I say young? Is it young
Young
Yarn? Is it young Yarn in training?
Yes.
Yeah, young
Bloody
Yarn in
Yarn.
training. Can you look up the Australian camel lady during COVID? Just type that in.
Was it Camel cigarettes, or is she actually on a
camels?
camel?
She walked camels across Australia. No one stopped her.
Oh, of course. Yeah, they made a movie out of her. They made a movie about
Oh,
it.
did they?
Yeah, she's. I didn't realise you were talking about the lady who trekked across Australia.
Yeah, that's her.
She happened to start walking
The camel
before
lady.
the pandemic, and she was mid walk.
Robin Davidson. Yeah, can you pull up an image of her?
Yeah, the
See if you-
camel lady. Is that what they call her?
She's the camel lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Hiked across the country with
yeah, not
camels.
one with the camel in it, Wade.
They made a.
I'm getting there.
I think the movie's called Tracks.
Yeah, Tracks. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you got that line there, Mr. Wade?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the camel lady, right?
Yeah.
So she walked across all borders from Broken Hill to
really?
WA.
Oh,
Yeah, no one stopped her.
really? Did
Yeah.
the border track?
Well, that's what I
interrupt?
thought. Like, because we couldn't go to WA for a holiday, and I thought, I started looking online.
Go through the middle.
How much are camels? Like, how much can you buy a camel for these days?
I'm not sure. Wade, can you Google that?
Good.
How much does
Wait,
a
how much
camel-
is a camel
How
worth?
much can you buy a camel for? Check it up on Gumtree.
Gumtree. Can you buy yeah, let's check that out. Can we get
Can you buy a camel on Gumtree?
a camel on Gumtree?
No, they have camel farms and these sorts
Surely.
of things. Right?
Yeah, you got to go to a camel broker, A camel broker. Yeah, I work at Camel Brokerage Ltd. Proprietary
Oh,
Limited.
yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah. Here we go. 5 results for camel sales in Australia. Pets Gumtree. You can buy camels on Gumtree.
No.
Yes, there it is. It's right there. 5 results,
place
camels
to
for
buy
sale
a
in
camel?
Australia. Pets Gumtree.
Wow.
Yeah, you can.
Wow.
Yeah, so well, I suppose why wouldn't you go to a marketplace? If you had a camel to sell, why wouldn't you go to Gumtree?
Well, I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of papers that have to be. I don't know. Isn't there like?
Yeah,
Oh,
do you have to
I suppose-
deworm your camel?
Probably. Probably.
Do they-
But you have to register your camel, surely. You can't just have a camel roaming free. In
I know,
your
but can you
yard.
digitally register
Are
your
you
camel?
allowed
That's
to
what I
have-
want to
Are you
know.
allowed to have a camel in your backyard? Is it one of those animals that's
I think so.
restricted in a suburban area?
Yeah, I don't know. Can we just type a
Surely.
camel to
It'd be
eat
like
the
a
lawn?
llama, right? A llama you wouldn't be able to have in your backyard in the city.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. You need it. Had
Yeah.
be what's the not horticulture? It's horticulture, right?
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, did you know though? Speaking of camels,
Oh, okay.
I digress.
Okay.
Do you know that Australia is it has the largest wild camel population?
Oh, I'd believe that.
It does, yeah.
I've seen wild camels
No,
across the Nullarbor.
Yeah, well, this is interesting. It's very
Shout out to
interesting.
Carissa.
Yeah, well, that was an interesting
We've seen-
drive. I would like to go, but you know the Gan? You know,
Yes.
do you know why they call it the Gan?
Because the camel drivers used to drive camels across.
They're all
that section.
Afghanis,
Yeah.
man. They're all
Yeah.
Afghani guys
Yeah.
that had camels, and that's how they built that railway.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they use camels
Afghan
to do that.
community was a really
Massive.
a big part of Australia's history. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And it's something that's been overlooked.
Mm.
We don't really. Oh, excuse me. You don't.
Sorry, Pep, into the mic one more time.
I normally do the. I don't know if you ever catch it on camera. Sometimes I do like the. Like the.
Oh, yeah.
See, Wade knows about
Wade's
this.
like, yeah,
I
we
hear
know
him do that all the
Burp
time.
and
You
blow.
know. I don't think it comes out in the recording though. It's just to Wade's displeasure, really. But no, but they built the railway from from dot to dot, right?
Yeah.
And they call it the Gan, and there's all those camels. Some of them got loose, so there's a couple of camels there. They're like, let's get the fuck out of here,
Absolutely.
right? And then from that you got
Like
this.
that.
Yeah. They spat on each
I've
other and
ridden
like,
a
let's
camel
go.
before.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. Been camel riding.
Where'd you go for a camel ride?
They're quite odd to get on. I can't remember. Probably somewhere in WA. They're quite odd to get on. You know, you don't. It's not like a horse. You don't just sort of get up on the
I
side.
heard it's a
and
bit
then-
of a bumpy ride.
It is a bumpy ride, and they kind of, when they run, they kind of throw their legs forward in this kind of like weird way. Yeah, it's quite because they fold at the knees in a different direction, right?
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they don't fold their knees backwards; their knees fold forwards, and so when they sit down for you to get on,
Oh, I thought it was
They
only
go
elephants that had
forwards.
had 4 legs that had folding knees forward. So every other, like horses, they don't. Their rear legs they fold like dogs, right?
pretty sure camels go forward.
Oh, Wade, let's do this.
It's a great
4
Google
knees.
opportunity for you, Wade.
All right. Okay. So 4 knees, right? Because I know that elephants have 4 forward-facing knees, right? Do camels have all 4 forward-facing knees? That's a riddle, isn't it? Do camels have all four forward-facing knees?
Forward-facing knees.
Forward-facing
All
knees.
tangled in the cord here. There we go.
There you go. Yeah. I like your scarf, by the way. I just noticed that.
Main the West.
Oh, we both fly in the Main the West
too.
flag. I'm Main the West today as well. Two
Hello,
episodes
yes.
today, yeah.
I like my scarves. I've got several Main the West scarves actually. I like this one that haven't worn it before.
And by the way, you can check that out on Redbubble, Main the West merchandise. You can buy such jumpers and scarves.
Yeah, links are on a website.
Yeah.
I love that you.
Just Google search it.
Both of us thought the
Excellent
same thing.
merch segue. Oh yeah, no, I can make $1 there. There's $1 there.
Have we started?
Yeah, totally.
Oh.
We've been going the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
we've been rolling, right? Yeah. We're Josh Brolin. I was going to do the intro.
You should.
I should do the intro.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'll do
You can't miss
do
the
the
intro.
intro
That's
at
the
the
joy. That's the joyous bit about it.
Yeah,
Hello.
I don't always do the intro these days, though.
Only once.
I do the rolling start, but you want the intro.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Give it to me. Give it to
All
me.
right, I'll give you the intro. We'll do the intro.
Yeah.
I think we've had enough of a warm-up. Would you agree? We'll find out about these camels in a moment. All right. And welcome to the Pagey Train. Today I have in the studio with me Misty McPhail, PhD student, artist, festival organiser, festival mob boss. Welcome to the show.
Yes, we're part of the Western Sydney Mafia.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The film
Thank you very
mafia.
much for having me. It's been a little while since I've been on the podcast.
Yeah, well, normally you are my go-to. You're my go-to. You're my COVID go-to. You're my COVID go-to queen for the Pagey train before we have to go to...
And how far we've fallen. You know, now we're talking about camels.
Yeah. And which way their knees fold. What was the result on that? What was the result there, Wade? The answer. Can you zoom in on that? What is that?
Zoom in on the answer there for us.
Elephants are the only animals that have 4 forward-facing knees.
Very much.
Elephants are the only ones.
All other four-legged animals have at least one pair of legs that face backwards.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's camels.
Yeah. So they get down. They get down. But
Yeah,
in
they
an
gotta-
old
they gotta-
way.
they gotta
No,
do
they
that.
go forwards first, then backwards.
Oh, so
they
yeah.
go the opposite way to what you think.
Yeah, okay.
So they're weird to get on and off.
Lumpy and wobbly.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah.
they're lovely beasts.
Yeah, no, I think there's something majestic about a camel.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we got taught in school that camels are the desert ships. They've got those 2 humps that store a lot of water, so they can conserve water. I think there's like 1 humped camels out there and 2 humped camels.
Oh,
There's
yeah, I think so.
a whole bunch of humped camels.
You decide where to ride, where to sit.
Yeah, but look, I think if you look at history and going across the deserts of the world, they're as almost as integral as the horse, really. Like, you look at horses. Horses were the cars of the past, right? So there was a time in history
What
where
about oxen?
yeah,
Beasts have always dragged things for us, right?
yeah, well they do,
Done things
but
that
horses
animals
the
that
standard
humans can't
go-to, right? You don't see a lot of saddles on zebras, like.
Maybe you should.
Yeah, I think there is a dude out there that's trained a zebra. I'm sure there is, or maybe some gal that is trained a zebra. Dare say it's a dude.
Definitely can't trade a donkey though.
No,
you can.
they do. The donkeys, the mules, because they're a
mules
high.
carry thing. Very, very true.
Yeah,
Carry
pack
things.
horses, man, because they're hybrid animals, so they can't breed. They're inert.
Really?
Yeah, that's why they're mules. I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
So that's when a horse and a donkey and
I
they
just
have
thought
a
like a mule was a female and an ass was a male, but I may have been assuming things there.
You make an ass out of you and me. Yeah.
Not sure.
I don't assume anything. A mule is a hybrid. And they have a zorse. You ever heard of a zorse?
No.
Yeah, shit you not. Hey,
I know someone who.
look this up, wait. A zebra cross a horse. They call it a...
How about a zonkey?
Yeah, they've got a zonky. There is a zonky. They do, yeah. Can you check out zonky? Is there such thing as a zonky? And I'm pretty sure these are hybrid animals. Nah, that's not it.
I reckon it's got an EY.
EY.
As in like a donkey.
EY, yeah, donkey. Yeah, zonky.
Yeah.
There we go.
Shout out to my
There it
friend
is.
Jess. who
Whack up one
tamed
of
a
those.
Zonkey in a dream.
Yeah, pull up that one.
look at
Pull up that
so
one. So,
cute.
so
That's so
whack. That's a
cute.
line, bro. That's a
That's
that's a donkey cross a zebra.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't getting a saddle on that.
It's a miniature horse.
It's a miniature horse, of course. It's the tomato sauce. Yeah, no, these are strange hybrids that are out there, man. But they can't breed, so you can't get 2 zonkies together and have a zonky family.
Right.
Yeah, no, they won't breed. They're
Well,
inert.
But
I think that's right.
but you
Infertile.
can get a zebra and a donkey together, obviously.
You can. And they clearly don't mind. So that works out.
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah. But yeah, no, the strange. I just think that you're right though. It's the beast-driven industry that used to be. That was thousands of years of doing
I'm sure
this.
it's been a terrible industry. Let's be honest. Like, you know, training animals and making them feel terrible in order to get them to do things for food and all that sort of stuff.
I don't know about that.
Same with the circus. It's a dying art, I'm sure.
Yeah, but there is those elements though. But I think.
But people do love their animals.
Yeah, people love their animals, especially horses.
Well.
Especially horses.
I'm not sure they always did though.
No, I don't think a lot of industries have treated horses well. But I dare say over the history of horses and people, most of those horses were okay because there's a relationship between a horse and their owner, because it's another brain, right? They're not just dull animals that go walk straight line. You know, they've got personalities of their own.
Yeah.
Just like dogs do. Dogs have a variety of personalities.
If you've ridden a horse, you know they've got
I
personalities.
think I get like my family rides a lot of horses.
Yes.
Like, they're right into that. I've ridden a horse a couple of times, but I find it icky.
Really?
I do because I know
I just hang out with horses all the time.
I love patting horses. I love introducing myself to a horse. Let a horse smell you, and they'll remember you forever, right? Yeah, riding a horse because you can feel the muscles and the bones move underneath you, and you can feel the cartilage moving. Because I have a very graphic mind. And you're like, oh, I can just feel the cartilage in this animal holding onto my 100 kilos. And it's okay with it. It's like trotting along. Well, not even trotting. It wasn't that good. It's definitely before a trot.
You didn't walking.
Just walking. Just walking on a horse.
Definitely didn't get the trotting.
Didn't get a trot going. Or a canter. Didn't get a canter going. I tried a canter.
Cantering's the best. Galloping's the best.
Yeah, I tried
Cantering's good.
I tried cantering. I've given it a go. Not very good at it. I'm nowhere near a gallop. I don't even know what a fucking gallop is.
I used to go riding all
I've
the
seen
time.
people do it.
I used to go riding all the time, and the horses, it would bolt out of the pen. We'd go off from where I used to ride. It was $20 for 3 hours, and it was a lovely big property. There were jumps on one side. There was a lake over here. There was a deli at the far end that you could go and get lunch at the halfway point. You know, tie up your horse, walk across the road, grab an ice cream or some lunch or something, and then come back again. You know, but as soon as the horses knew that you were on the way back, there was no turning them. You couldn't be like, oh, we still got 45 minutes to go, and like turn back around. Nuh-uh.
Right.
Once they were on the path home, they were on the path home. And Dad and I,
Because they're smart. They know, right?
Dad and I used to race back, and I remember falling off. I remember like riding the horse like this at one point underneath the neck, and Dad's got a 15, 12-year-old, I don't even know what it was, a teenager, like hanging on the underneath of a horse, and he's like, let go, foot in the stirrup, this sort of thing. Dropped off the horse bolted back,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just never got into it.
Yeah.
Never really got into it. Like, I prefer a motorbike.
I've seen horses like roll over in the lake with someone sitting, like just got so fed up with their rider that they were like, yeah, I'm just going to walk into this lake and roll over with you on me. Get off.
So that's what I mean. They're cunning and they are treacherous.
They're smart because they'll see a low-lying branch and they'll be like, yeah, let's go this path, not that path that you want me to go down, and then just like clear their rider off the back.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's what I'm saying. They're smart. I think
you?
I would. But yeah, no, I love horses. I love seeing horses. I love being around them. I love. Probably, if anyone's bothering with the comments, I like going to the races.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not for animal cruelty.
Races.
I love going to the races. Dressing to the nines, putting some punts on, because you can work out a lot of things with the, how a horse performs on the conditions of the day. But no, with that said though, definitely not on the side of animal cruelty. I think.
Yeah. Don't like
They can do that without being. They can definitely do that without being cruel.
I've never really been a big Melbourne Cup fan. I mean, it's always something that's interesting and it happens at work and things like that. But don't horses die every year?
Yeah, there was 2 years in a row they had to shoot a horse on the field.
bad.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
When a horse snaps its leg and they have to shoot the horse.
Yeah.
And that's tragic and terrible. But people will be complaining about that while eating a steak. Have you ever hung out with a cow? They're beautiful animals. I love cows. I love eating them, but they're a beautiful animal. Like. And when times are tough, man, people do all kinds of crazy shit. When times are good, people do all kinds of crazy shit.
So your preference of what are we're going to eat kangaroo maybe?
I've eaten
Kangaroo's
kangaroo.
a pest?
I've eaten kangaroo. I don't think.
Good for you.
I know kangaroo can be a pest, but I don't. Well, it's our national emblem, right? How can we call our national emblem a pest? Like,
Yeah.
it's not a pest. There's the fact is that we've got this big dingo fence, and no one's eaten the bloody Kangaroos, that's the problem. The kangaroo used to have a natural predator, and that's the bloody dingo, mate.
Right.
And we put
It's
a big
the
fence.
most Aussie thing. It's the bloody dingo.
It's a bloody
mate.
dingo, mate. The bloody dingo didn't steal your kangaroo. That's the problem.
Can't get much more Aussie than that. The bloody dingo, mate.
Bloody dingo fence, mate. They got no natural predator. There's no one can take down the kangaroo. And then you can argue, well, should you be allowed hunters to go and cull kangaroos? You go, well, that's cruel. Okay, we'll let the dingoes out. Is that like a dingo eating a kangaroo? I'm sure it was alive during some of that process. It's pretty gruesome when something hunts something down in the wild. Nature being nature, and I guess that's a part of it.
It's natural though. You don't see a
Well, where's nature end and where does
coming out with a gun and
no? But where does nature end and where does industry begin? Isn't industry itself natural? You know what I mean? like we are from the earth and we have this endeavor to do these things.
No, culture and nature, like they're opposite to each other. You can't say it is perhaps
They do meet though.
what we consider to be natural now because we've been in it for so long. You know, but no, this is the way that we live is not the way that everybody lives.
No, that's true. But I
There are plenty of people who have gone through the last, 150 years since the Industrial Revolution. 200 years. It's probably been another 50 since that.
No, the Industrial Revolution, is
1850s.
1850s.
So almost 200
All right,
years.
Wade, bring it up. When did the Industrial Revolution start?
I was at the airport yesterday at the sushi train, the luggage train, and a young girl picked up her bag, and it was like this bright blue kind of thin fabric, like almost a parasilk type thing with like rainbow type straps, and she said to her younger brother or whoever the young boy was, "This is retro 80s."
Retro 80s.
And I was like, vintage.
It's
vintage
vintage.
80s.
Ooh,
and I was like,
same word.
wow, 80s is vintage.
Vintage.
It's totally retro. Sorry, I got the word wrong, but vintage.
Yeah, but vintage.
80s.
Yeah, but vintage, like vintage,
that's 40
vintage
years
cars
ago.
is,
That's 40 years
but it
ago
is,
now.
I think, we'll look that up
And
in a
I used to
second.
think
When did
that
it?
vintage was the 70s, 60s.
1775.
Oh, 1750s, not 1850s.
1770s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was later than that. I was thinking thinking 1850s.
I was thinking
The
mid
American
80s.
Revolutionary
Oh,
War.
of
Oh, no,
course,
it's the
it's
Revolutionary War.
Because the 18th century, though.
No, the Industrial Revolution, bro.
Oh, whoops, we're looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah, we're looking at the wrong thing. Industrial Revolution.
Don't trust everything you read.
No, hold on. He'll pull it up. Industrial Revolution. Oh, it's still the same.
1760 to 1840.
1760. So I suppose.
So we're
Well, of
both
course,
right.
though, because they were machining weapons and they were making cannons, right? Of course, it was part of the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
But it was. I'm pretty sure it started with the Industrial Revolution. It started with the Scots.
Quite possibly.
Mining coal. They started mining coal at an industrial level. Production lines and whatnot.
How amazing. We'll be alive for the end of that revolution. The end of
Well,
the
we've
coal
already
mining.
reached then we went through the age of steel. Like you get the Bronze Age, steel, Stone Age, all these sort of things. And you got the Industrial Revolution, the age of steel. Now we're kind of into the age of digital and glass. We're in the Silicon Age. Yeah, we're in the Silicon Age right now.
Yeah, right.
Seems to be we're going down the periodic table of elements. That seems to be the go.
To the finer and finer elements, or no? Up,
It's a bit of a cross-reference.
Are we going up there?
We're going up and down, because once you think about the H bomb, that's like hydrogen fusion.
Noble
So that's,
gas.
no, hydrogen's not noble. Helium's noble though.
Oh, okay.
It's like ooh. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, chlorine. Anyway, what were we talking about before the Industrial Revolution? We were on to something. Camels, no.
Dingoes,
mate. Yeah,
no,
so
bloody dingoes, mate.
yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. We should cull these animals because we've already changed nature to stop. Kangaroos having a predator. But again, though, industry itself, I think, is a natural thing. If you look at a ant's nest, right? In some ants' nests around the world, they have ants that leaf cutters, and then they take sap from a tree. They do their own pharmacology, so they have antibiotics in the nest. So they've got a pharmacological ecosystem that they're working with, a food and resource ecosystem, ventilation and air. There's engineering that's going on with these things, and you look at that and you go, that's natural. That's natural. If there were aliens out there looking down on us, going, oh, these little creatures, what they do is they build these skyscrapers. They create this invisible force called Wi-Fi. It's natural. I think there's an argument to be said that that's a natural thing that we do. Should we still pour oil into the river? No. I think we should do things cleaner. Should we kill every animal and eat it? Should we chop down every tree and make a table? I think there's extremes to those things. I think we can do things in a scientific,
regulates-
moderate way.
If that's the case, then who regulates which natural instincts we have? Who regulates what's right and what's wrong? What's natural?
We know
and
what's
not?
well, you know what's morally
'Cause
right.
People have. Well, who defines moral?
Well, that's true. Like I've been to Asia and I've watched
we're
toddlers
going by
smoking cigarettes.
Moses
Yeah.
here. We're going by the Ten
Biblical.
Commandments. Is that what was that?
Yeah, but the first 7 are all about jealousy, and then it gets into it.
And
you know?
donkeys.
And donkeys. Yeah.
Thou shalt not covet my zonkey.
Thou donkey shall not covet thy zebra, and a donkey is an abomination. Vicodus 22:17. That was real pulled out. Is that a good reference? I don't know. No, it's not. It's terrible.
No,
Christians everywhere are like burning torches right now.
Knows the names of any of the books in the Bible would be like, no.
Well, Vicodus, I think it's Vicodus is the bad one, right?
Is it?
Yeah, that's the one about like homosexuality threads that you can't put together. You know, can't have cotton and corn or something like that. Just crazy shit.
Haven't read it.
Yeah, well, I have. I think it's funny though, because a Bible is in every it used to be in every hotel room,
Yes.
right? And you go, some of the most debaucherous shit I've ever done's in a fucking hotel room. That's
why the Bible's
that's why
there,
the Bible's
Ross.
there, so I can reflect on my bad activity.
Right. So in the morning, you can have a look at the Bible and be like, oh, this is where I went wrong.
Yeah, damn Gideons, man. Bill Hicks, may you rest in peace. God, we miss you. I don't know about that. I don't know if that's a good way to judge morals. I think we inherently have human emotions that are moral. Like you can't, if someone was in a lake drowning, like I know everyone's heard the song In the Air Tonight, right?
I can feel it.
And
Yes.
it's about that dude that was drowning, but it wasn't about that dude that was drowning, but it was apparently about that dude that was drowning.
It was not.
No, but that's the
what
rumor.
everybody says,
That's
though,
the rumor.
right?
Phil Collins.
Marie.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I didn't say Bill. I said Phil. Okay, just
Maria googled you and
yeah,
she fact checked you.
Fact checked me. But
My
apparently,
mum fact checked my husband.
no. But the rumor was that Phil Collins wrote that song, "In the Air Tonight," because of his friend drowned in a lake and someone walked by and let that happen. And she's right to fact check that because that does sound like a bullshit story. And the reason is because of our morality. If you were walking past a lake and you heard someone crying for help, it'd be so hard to ignore.
Well, and you probably wouldn't write a song about it.
Yeah, and you wouldn't write a song of revenge to then
Yeah.
have someone commit suicide over your lyrics.
Yeah.
Which is pretty badass if it is true. That's pretty badass, like to weaponize art that way. Like I've talked about this a lot on the show, the weaponization of art and vice versa.
People do call out other artists all the time. Like, I don't even know the artist that I'm thinking about right now.
Well,
But, like, it wasn't like Taylor Swift in some arguments with like
Adele? Was it Adele?
I don't know whether it was Adele. Wasn't it like Lil Campbell,
every time I hear the
Cardi
word-
B or someone? They're all like
yeah,
calling
maybe it was
each other-
Cardi B. I don't know.
I don't know who sang Anaconda. That bird.
Cardi B.
No.
Isn't that Cardi B?
No. That's
Who sang Anaconda?
that's
Come on,
the
let's
girl
do it.
Who came before Cardi B because I
That
don't know
was
Cardi.
Nicki Minaj.
Thank
Nicki
you very much.
Minaj, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's right. And then like
It's great having young people around. They know what the fuck's going on.
yeah, I feel like they're all calling each other out all the time.
Yeah, but that's part of the theatre, though. That's
Yeah.
the theatre of it all.
Yeah, maybe they're all friends.
Well, I think the biggest rivalry ever is definitely Biggie Smalls and Tupac. And that's such a shame. It is such a shame. As Gordon Ramsay would say,
What a shame.
What a shame. But imagine if they were together now collaborating. Imagine those two as collaborators, East and West Coast together. I think that's really cool.
I think there'd be less rivalry today. You know,
Yeah, well,
they lived in a different time.
yeah, but it's all over nothing, really. It's really over nothing. All that violence over nothing. Another good rivalry was Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it turns out they were enemies for years, right? Because one would get an action movie and the other one would get an action movie. And they're always one-upping each other in this competitive way. And then they eventually met and became really good friends. And I think there's a really good, there's a great lesson in that. Like, rivalry has its place, don't get me wrong, but I think collaboration is way more powerful than rivalry. It's way more powerful.
Totally.
And it's the ego that gets in our way.
Yeah.
Because we go, I want to be the man. I want to be number one.
Yeah.
But you realise that it's not really that important. And what is number one anyway? Because it's subjective. Unless it's sport.
And it's fleeting because if you try to hang on to what you've got for too long,
It's temporary.
You end up trying to be the same thing and you don't move with the times. Whereas we're collaborating with other people, you're open to change and shifting the way that you do things.
And communication, if you look at any species based on survival, because I've been looking into this a little bit,
Been Googling survival.
Yeah, well, not Google. Doomsday prepping. No,
Hey, you're talking to a good doomsday.
we are actually totally doomsday prepped. Actually, we can be gone in a flash.
Well, if we pack the boxes correctly.
Well, we pack them correctly.
You know.
Well, they're there.
Anyways.
They're there anyway.
They are. I've always been
no.
fascinated by that idea, by the way. I've always been fascinated by the idea that you can be prepared for anything. I love the idea of being prepared for anything.
Well, you should be.
It's not necessarily about doomsday, because, that's a bit of
no.
a farcical thing. But,
No, but
I like
things-
the idea of being ready.
99% of the time, things are going right.
Yeah.
No one cares about that.
Especially because I'm on the East Coast, Anything could happen here. There could be a civil war that breaks out between the East and the West.
There could be a toilet paper shortage. Who knows?
Toilet paper shortage. Everybody could be fighting down each other's, doors for food. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a flood. That's probably most likely
That's
to
most
happen.
likely, yeah. No, it has happened. It has
Yeah.
flooded here. We've been on an island. We live on a hill, and we've been on an island twice this century. No, but Darwinism, right? The strongest survive. It's not necessarily true. That's true for the apex.
Well,
the apex,
depends
it's
how you
true.
define strength. Is there strength in numbers, right? Or there's strength in working together in order to overcome the obstacle?
Well, then you look at the adaptable. Those that are adaptable survive. Those that can
Yeah.
pivot. We were talking about that earlier today. What is a pivot?
Yeah.
But
Pivot to digital is where that first came from. And when you pivot your analog to digital.
Yeah.
But pivoting anything is just
pivoting
pivoting.
anything. It's just pivoting. It's manoeuvring, right?
Yeah.
So the idea of being manoeuvrable in a species that will give rise to succession, but really it's about communication. The species that communicate the best live longer. The ones that communicate, schools of fish, the most successful schools of fish, and birds that can communicate, bees that communicate. The ones that communicate better will live longer, like have a longer life cycle in the epoch of existence.
Interesting idea.
So it's communication that's key, and that's where we're at the moment, right? We're in this era of communication, it's an adolescence. We don't know what the fuck it is. We don't know what we are. We don't know where we're going, and we don't even and that can be seen in civil movements at the moment. Certainly in the trans movement, in the LGBTQ movement. These are ideas that are against traditional ideas, like, oh no, a marriage is between a man and a woman. Like, really, who gives a fuck? Like, most people are like, don't give a shit. But there's some people that do. They go, well, there's this structure to society, but really, it's openness and communication that gives us rise to survive. I think it can be said, though, fallen empires before have celebrated their chefs. They've celebrated their... it's called the era of indulgence. You could argue that we are in an era of indulgence. Actually, can you pull that up, Wade? The stages of an empire.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
let's read that too.
Yeah. No, there's stages. There is this because I think there's the innovation. Before he pulls it up, there's 5. I think there's 5 stages to an empire.
Okay.
So you got there's innovation. Then there's the building part of it. Hold on, we'll pull it up here. E.
EMPARE.
You need to starts with an E, bro.
It's a little spelling class on the podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
There you go. Take the correct one. There we go. There's the ages of empire.
There we go.
So there's the age of pioneers. So
Yeah.
that's the outburst. Then you've got the conquest.
Never needed my glasses on the podcast.
And then
before.
you get
There we go.
the age of commerce, the age of affluence, the age of intellect, the age of decadence.
We could be in decadence.
And
we're coming up on decline and collapse.
And you can look at these identified.
Leave that up for a little bit. That's fascinating.
Isn't it? Because you can look at the Roman Empire. They went through these stages. The Egyptian Empire went through these stages. The Portuguese Empire went through these stages. The Ottoman Empire.
Do you think that over time we go through these stages faster?
That's exactly right.
Because I look at that and I go, where is affluence? Like, I think affluence
Well,
is
it's
like...
exponential. The speed of this is exponential, what I've discovered.
20th century.
I'm sure I'm probably stealing intellectual ideas from someone else there. But
Yeah, Wikipedia.
but no, I think, there's a lot of study into it. The Egyptian Empire lasted thousands of years. The Roman Empire lasted 1,000 years. The Austrian-Hungarian Empire lasted less than 100 years.
Yeah.
The English Empire, 100 years. The American Empire that we're currently in now, the NATO, the OSED Empire.
OECD.
Yeah, we now acronise everything.
Yeah.
Can you say that? I don't know. You know what I mean?
We're in the economist empire.
The economist empire.
Acronyms
It's less than 100 years, and it's currently in the age of decadence, right? We're celebrating
the
it.
AOD.
And
Obviously,
they have indicators to these things. When they look through history, when the Romans were celebrating their chefs, going, this chef is awesome, and this gladiator is awesome, and they're overpaid and over-celebrated. That's an indicator that you're in the age of decadence.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, celebrity influencers and
That's right.
people with no qualifications ending up with a whole bunch of money for doing nothing, next to nothing.
And lunacy. Absolute lunacy in
Absolute
government.
lunacy.
Absolute lunacy in
Yeah.
government. And there's
We're
been...
there.
Yeah, well, there's been different... there's been... Well,
Mind you, I
here's-
must say, I'm very happy that the adults are back in charge again.
Yeah, well, with Australia, absolutely. I think, yeah, well, Albo is definitely on his,
not-
what was it called? The apology tour?
The international apology
Albo's currently
tour.
doing his apology tour. He's currently saying sorry to the president of France. Sorry about that
Been
guy.
to Italy, he's been to Spain.
Yeah,
all
look,
those-
rumour
all
says
over
that like the last guy that was in this job, he shat himself at a Macca's car park,
Oh.
but, you know,
It's just a rumour.
it's just a rumour. Actually, I go to... So,
I thought you were going to actually wait, Google that.
no, wait, Google
No.
Scott Morrison shooting
No.
himself. No. No, there's stickers that say Engadine Macca's with his face on it, and they're all over the city.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's
Somebody
hilarious.
printed those.
Someone went to-
made them and printed
Went to
them.
every drive-through in Sydney and stuck them on the drive-throughs.
That is why artists are important.
Yeah, you needed a graphic designer for that. Someone's gone, okay, so we're going to go with a Pascal. If that's the palette.
What is really?
Yeah, it's a Pascal palette. We're going for exaggerated skin tones, and we want him to... I don't want it to be flattering.
Is he just a little floating head?
Yeah, it's a floating head, and it's
Yeah.
not flattering.
Black
He
and
looks
white.
ugly and old.
All right.
So it's not a non-flattering
They do
image.
that. It bothers me that they do that. Like whenever there's the ads for whichever party it is, and they're the negative ads always have the black and white, and they're always sort of like mid speech, and they're sort of looking angry, and you go, he's just talking, and you've happened to have caught a bad screenshot of the guy,
Yeah.
or whoever it is that they've got the photo of it. But it bothers me, all of that. We've gone too far. It's all gone too far.
Yeah, but these are things that we know that work. We know that they work. When you have a negative image of
They
someone,
do. But it's all about the lowest common denominator, right? That's the
yeah,
rules,
but it always
right?
has been. It always has been.
Has it?
Yeah, through the age of empires, it has. It's always about that. It's always been about politics. Look at the idea of Rome, right? They had at one point they had a tyrant, and his name was Caesar, man.
Maybe it hasn't. Maybe it's always been about the highest common denominator, but then something happened. For example, I don't know, writing was invented, and books and all the rest of it.
Interesting. External memory.
So then suddenly words travelled further, and they actually had a new audience, which were considered to be the lowest common denominator. Like they think that we have a year 9 reading level.
That's that they base everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do that.
So I actually quite like when someone talks to me like I'm an adult, and that I actually know what I'm thinking, what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know, but if you ever watched Deadwood, as Al Swearingen would say, there's hoople heads out there and they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right. Maybe we should be less pessimistic about the education levels of people out there. But I can assure you, if we went out and interviewed people on the street, did some box pops, and we held up a photograph of the mayor and go, who's this? No one would know who the fuck it is. Like, I don't even know who our mayor is. If you held up a picture of the Prime Minister...
I don't know who our mayor is either.
But if you held up then you go, oh, here's the Premier, right? Who's Perrottet, right?
Yeah.
50% of the people would get it. The other 50 wouldn't. They wouldn't know. I don't know that guy.
There are some people that just don't watch the news at all.
But if you put up,
don't
if you put up a
understand
photo of Kim Kardashian, you're going to get a 100% hit rate. Really? Even baby boomers know who that is.
Really?
Yeah. They don't know who the Prime Minister is, but they know who the fuck Kim Kardashian is.
Terrible.
So there is pessimism in that. But I'd like to be the optimist, but I don't know. I think we can definitely do better. I think we can definitely do better with education
Who's running
in
this
this country.
ship? That's what I want to know. Who's running it?
Well, the scary thing is I don't think anyone is. I think it's all there's no one at the wheel.
Yeah.
There's no one at the wheel.
Everybody's just doing what they think they need to do in order to get ahead.
Yeah,
We're all just following those self-help tapes.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you got to do. You got to, be rich in 5 steps.
Yeah.
These sorts of things.
Well, be rich in 5 steps. First, become a motivational speaker. 2, write a book in less than 100 pages. 3, market that book on social media.
suddenly you're an
4, sell
authoritative
tickets
voice.
to self-help lectures. 5, collect money on self-help lectures. You're now rich.
It's true.
Yeah. So 5 ways to get rich. They're following their own program, and you're the one paying for it.
True.
I think that, but there is certainly inspirational people out there. Like, I get inspiration from a lot of people.
Totally.
But not.
I like listening to people.
They're not inspirational speakers, though.
No, they're successful people in some way, and it's not necessarily in business. It's not necessarily they're not necessarily entrepreneurs, or even though those people are people who I like to listen to, but they're just somebody who's done something, and they're reflecting on how they did it, why they did it, what it meant to them. You know. Yeah,
totally. Things that they've achieved. Like, I love Elon Musk, man. I think what he's doing is fantastic. I really do. Even though he does seem like a James Bond bad guy, even has a name like a James Bond bad guy, even looks like a James Bond bad guy, has a girlfriend that would be a James Bond. Anyway, very much like a James Bond bad guy. But everything he's doing is really cool. The Tesla, the car, trying to save the planet that way. Even though, but lithium's bad as well. I get the argument, guys, but you got to see the forest through the trees there. Neuralink, a SpaceX especially. The idea of being a spacefaring civilization is setting the dream. He's not just selling rockets, he's selling dreams, that man. He's collecting data and selling dreams. That's true. Most people think that Tesla is a car company. It's not. It's a data collection company. Well, think about it. You can buy a phone, right? Everyone buys a phone, and that phone's main purpose to sell it to you is to data collect. It collects data on you, and that data is sold onto a third-party user. And those third-party users are generally advertisers. And so the phone and Facebook, Google, these things are all free because of your data. But you pay for the phone. What the Tesla's doing is it's recording action. It has cameras on all sides of it. Constantly updating the server on every road that it's on, every condition of every road that it's on.
Oh, I didn't think about the idea that was uploading back. So I was in a friend's car the other day. It was a nice Beamer, and it had a beautiful screen. And it showed you all 4 sides of the car at any given time. But the car in the center was a fake car. It was like a computer generated car. But the camera vision on either side, on all 4 sides, was the real camera vision, and you could sort of see all around you. I didn't think about the idea.
They're collecting that data,
uploading it to everywhere else.
They're collecting data on pedestrian movements. They're collecting data on traffic movements. How long you're stuck in traffic. They're getting all of that data. It's worth a fortune. It's worth way more than the car. It's a data collection company.
Yeah.
And that's the world that we're in, right? There's this data collection, the age of silicon. We don't fully understand it. No one predicted Facebook. No one predicted it.
No.
Like, we all thought, beam me up, Scotty, want to go into space and travel faster than the speed of light. We're nowhere near that yet. We didn't get the hoverboard. Disappointed, by the way. Still disappointed. I've got a T-shirt that has a hoverboard on it. That will do. But we don't have the hoverboard. We don't have the flying cars. But we do have this device that is an extension of us. The Marshall McLuhan medium is the message, the extension of oneself, radio, TV, books, you were talking about it before, external memory. The idea that we were putting memories outside of ourselves and handing that on, especially scientific material, is what really blew up the Industrial Revolution.
Well, it changes what you can spend your time thinking about. And this is one of the interesting things, I think, between the generations, our generation versus generations before us, who want to have everything, they want to know, they want to keep hold of their knowledge in a different way. And our generation is in between the two. But the younger generations, there's no need to hold on to that information because you can access it at any given time. That understanding that you have information at your fingertips is liberating, but it's also limiting in a way because you don't choose to remember as much.
We don't have to.
Yeah.
Like, how many phone numbers do you remember?
A few. But I
compared to when you were a kid. When you were a kid, you had to remember every number.
Was a bad example because I happen to have very good memory of numbers.
I have a terrible memory for numbers.
Yeah, I'm a visual. I have a really good visual memory, and I happen to be able to remember numbers reasonably well. But there are lots of facts that I don't. Movies. You should have chosen movies. I'm a terrible memory for movies.
Well, I guess my point is, like, all of your friends' phone numbers, you don't know them really. You probably do, actually.
Half of them.
Half of them, but you're tired. Yeah, because you're a traveller. You have to remember that.
Yeah,
I guess that's the point.
I spent a long time travelling and
you
having
have a reason to remember
where,
those numbers, right? I
Yeah.
guess my point is that you don't have people don't remember numbers because they don't have a reason to remember them.
Yeah.
So they've got an external memory that can hold that for them. They don't have the requirement to do it.
Yeah, my trouble is where to save things because I've got there's you've got your phone, you've got your computer, you've got a book that you might put things in, you've got notes, you've got ways of being able to remember things, and I'm always like, which one am I going to... Well, where did I put this last time? So I feel like we've been in this transitional time where we've been learning a new way of doing things, but we're not quite set on the way of doing things.
Yeah, well, it's changing.
And the phone is where it's going to end up, sure, because it's going to... But
the phone's going in,
How many addresses do you have in your phone?
Oh...
How much additional
several.
information do you have about people in your phone? Not that much. Like, where do you keep that stuff?
Well, I do actually.
Or do you
when
ask someone their address every single time you go there?
No.
Sorry, Jay. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no. Jay, he does.
Jay lived in the same house for our entire 10
I now
years
know.
together.
I now know that address,
And
but
now
then he
he's
moved.
That's right. And we now remember where you live as the old place.
Yeah, there's the old place and new place, but I just know how to get there. I don't know the address. I just know how to get there.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Sort of. I had to put it in my favourite.
Well, Maps does that though, because you remember back when we had a Rolodex, right? Where you had to
Maps.
remember the way. You had to remember the way before you got in the car.
The UBD. Used to have I used to pride myself on having the best UBD in my car, and I would always I love maps.
Did you have tabs?
As a traveller,
tabs on
no,
pages?
No,
I had tabs.
I just used the index and looked things up.
No, I had tabs that I'd go to.
I dog ear. I dog ear pages, favourite pages, no places where I might
dog
go
ear is folding over a page for you. Anyone below 30.
Dog ear.
Well, they don't use books, man. They don't use books. They don't fucking know. I use a bookmark. Is that something you click on?
I love
Daddy, I bookmark something on Google.
I love maps though. I've always loved looking.
I don't know why that was a British kid doing that anyway.
I've always loved looking at maps and thinking about where we are, especially traveling, because I'm always the one who organises where we're not necessarily where we're going, but like the city that we're traveling to, the accommodation, things like that. And I'm always thinking about where we are in relation to the spaces that we might end up going. You know me. I like to set the
research
scene.
Research. Spatial
I love
awareness.
accommodation research. I love thinking about all the possibilities for a holiday. I've always been a good holiday itinerary maker, and I always travel by myself. You see, and I feel more confident knowing where things are in relation to me. Like, I don't want to be one of these people on the side of the street in a foreign city with a map open going, where am I going? I want to sort of have an idea of where things are.
Look, all you need is a compass, Misty. All you need is a compass.
Do not talk to me about compasses.
The best way to get around Venice, by the way, kids, is with a compass.
Definitely not with a compass. She with a map. He with a compass. Can you imagine the time that we had in Venice, which was hilarious?
We stumbled upon fun restaurants. We're like, this is a great restaurant. It will do because we're lost. We'll just eat here. It will
do because we can't find the main trail.
Well, I actually figured out. No, someone gave me really good advice about Venice, by the way.
That all the house numbers go in
sequential.
order.
Yeah, that's like a snake.
There's only one of every number. I must have got that information from you.
The numbers don't switch the sides of the road. They start on. They snake around.
So it's like a maze. If you just keep your left hand on a wall, you'll eventually
find your way around. No, but then you figure out, so that's 12 over there, and 96 is there. So okay, so it's over that way.
Yeah.
You can look at the numbers and figure out. You can get a geo.
Maybe.
Sort of pin. See, tech talk. I got a geo pin in my head. How does that work?
Yeah, you and your compass, you were hilarious. Like, we'd be on a bridge. You're like, we have to head in that direction. And I'm looking at the map, and I know that over that way is all dead ends because the only bridge to cross the canal is.
Well, I didn't calculate the bridges. You got to calculate.
The number of dead ends we got at the canal. We're like, yeah, okay, we can't
calculate the bridges.
I can see the bridge around the corner. Let's go that way.
Didn't calculate that. Definitely didn't calculate that.
That's hilarious. Well, it was my fault for giving you a compass in Venice because, of course, you were going to play with the compass.
Yeah, no,
upon first.
I love that compass. It's so Indiana Jones. It's a very Indiana Jones compass. Not that I've ever seen Indiana Jones use a compass in his movies. Interesting. How can I have again? That's one of those Mandela effects. I don't know. I figure maybe he had it in the first Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Maybe he used a compass there at some point. But I don't think he did. I think it was a a surveyor. He had a site surveyor. It wasn't a compass. I don't think he's ever used a compass. I think it's like in the menu, and you just assume because he's walking around that he would have to have a compass, and it would look in that style of that era of the 1940s. The compass would look like that. We make these assumptions about, I don't know, sort of pop culture references like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Subconscious. Existential.
Yes.
Yes. So back to the merch. I really like your scarf. Back to the merch. You can check that out on Redbubble. We've got some fantastic merch out there. Just a shout out to our sponsors, which are us. So support the show, support the festival, go and buy some merch. But
we got great things on there. My favourite things. Oh, you can tell me what your favourite. Yeah, sure. Obviously, the hoodie's going to be one of them. But
hey, wait. Can you type in Redbubble Made in the West?
What you want to do is you want to go. The easiest way to find it is actually through the Made in the West website, www.madeinthewest.com.au. Yep. And there's on the menu items. There's a search.
Oh, you missed it. Yeah, I missed it, bro.
I'm sorry. There's a shop.
You almost had it
on the menu.
There you go.
And then you can click on any of those.
There
buttons.
it is. There you go.
Favorite items.
Yeah.
Spiral notebooks, of course.
Oh yeah, the stationery. There's the stationery on there.
Love the phone covers. I love the coasters. Hello.
Yeah, where's the link? There we go. Yeah, put that up. Put that way.
Click on the duffel bag. I bloody love that.
So you got the duffel bag.
Click on one of those. It'll take you through to the site.
Yeah.
I love the coasters. Look at these. Look, there's actually really good quality coasters.
They are pretty good.
Cork on the back. And
he's still on anyway.
He's got the little
yeah.
things.
Look at these bags. I don't know
and
how
your
these bags.
menu's over on the left-hand side.
No, kill that. Don't sign up to that, bro.
Over on the left, you can see they're all categories, and we're in the accessories category at the moment. So you can go down. Go to pins. Pins shows you these are all the badges. It shows you all the different types of graphics that we have on top of them all. You know, proudly made in the West and represent. I've been wearing my little represent badge. I love them. We got an 8. Like these are all jogging my memory of all the things that we've got. We've got
a lot of merch.
I gave my dad a barbecue apron.
Did you?
So I fully expect that when we get back to Perth at Christmas time, we're going to be cooking some barbecues and see that Made in the West apron coming out.
I think we even have a shower curtain, don't we? Do we have a shower curtain?
Yeah, here's my scarves.
There's the scarves,
That's right.
Yep. Made in the West scarves.
Yeah, I like the little mini graphics.
Well, the reason we've got so many graphics for these things is because of, it's been 10 years, man. It's our 11th year.
Those are all our poster designs and logos and graphics.
Yeah, so that's all of the graphics that have come out of Made in the West. Big shout out to not the rabbit hole. They're not called the rabbit hole anymore. They're the Burrow graphic design team at WSU. Big shout out to those guys.
Katrina and the 4th year design students. It's been great working with them. Actually, we've been doing that since 2020. So this is our 3rd year working with them. We're actually due to design this year's, to figure out the brief. For this
we know the brief, but it's secret. It's top secret at the moment. So
it's one of my favourite times of the year. Figuring out the creative brief for the poster, because that poster becomes the artwork for the entire season, and so it's important to us that we get the colour scheme that we want, the iconic image that we want, something that represents how we feel.
Well, it goes all the way to Made in the West TV, so it will go through the poster, it will go through the flyers, it will go through the program, it will end up in the merch, then it will end up even as the supers on the TV show, which is shot at the end, and the online festival as well. So it carries all the way through. Yeah.
And I like that we do that. The poster becomes something that's really this sort of iconic image for the year, and that's how I remember what year it was. When I think about what year was it then, and I think about the colour scheme that was in the foyer, I think about what posters were around and which of the banners was at the front entrance when I've got this memory. The poster becomes this
Well, I remember the brief. I remember the briefs from the past. So I think the astronaut on the moon. I think that was a great brief.
Gorillas with guns.
So we're guerrilla filmmakers on the moon, and we're chasing down the Sydney film scene, and they're the astronaut, and we want you to shoot that astronaut.
And when you shoot it, it's got to have a rainbow.
It's got to have a rainbow.
And that's what this is.
They've got to be bleeding rainbow.
That's what this is. It's got a rainbow. He's got a rainbow coming out of the
Yeah, see, that's the prototype. That's the prototype one.
Yeah.
That's a rare find, that one. I've got that up on the wall, that one.
Yeah, I've got a mask as well that's got this one on the side. It's one of my favourite posters, even though it never actually went to.
No, well, that's all off the. There's a single print, and there's only one file of it, and it's not even a full worked file.
Yeah.
It's really just a prototype, and it's one of my favourite ones actually.
It's not scanned with blue tack marks in the corner.
Some of our posters are like that, yeah.
Yeah, you kept really good records in the beginning, didn't you?
Well, I didn't know that I was going to be running this festival 10 years later and doing that.
Knew.
Nobody knew. Like, really, the first festival wasn't even called Made in the West. It was called the Green Screen.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how it ended up with that name. But
Well, it's just,
it's just what it was at the time. But when I've talked about it before, Made in the West, really, when I named it in its second year, I'm like, I need a name for this thing. And I need a name that draws away from stigmatism. Like, it erodes the stigmatism, right? I need a name that people can stand behind and be proud of it and actually turn the ship of this idea of, I need to change my hairstyle. I can't put my postcode on my resume. I need to get rid of that shit. We need to make it cool that you're actually from Western Sydney, because you're probably a bit more gritty and you've got a bit more a street nous, and you've got a bit more, perhaps even education as well. You've got a lot more going on if you're from Western Sydney.
I don't even know this. I don't even know the stats, but the number of people who are highly educated and tertiary educated in Western Sydney is very high.
It is.
Yeah.
That's my point. Yeah, and the artist ratio as well.
Yeah.
It's more artists in Western Sydney than there is anywhere else in the country, except for Western Melbourne, actually. They are rivals. Western Melbourne and Western Sydney are rivals in that regard.
I did an event once. It was called West Meets West. It was with the Digital Writers Festival out of Melbourne. I was working with the Emerging Writers Festival, and I was like a guest curator did a couple of events and helped on an event with what they did was they hooked up the West Melbourne writing group and the Sweatshop Writers out of Western Sydney, who are doing amazing things at the moment. Sweatshop Writers.
That's right, the Sweatshop Writers. I remember that. Yeah,
they're doing amazing work with Winnie and Mo there at the helm, and they're publishing fantastic anthologies that are absolutely cutting edge in the writing scene in Western Sydney, and really rocking the way that things are done in the publishing industry, which is really great. But we did like a live hookup. One of the first sort of virtual hookups that I'd ever worked on between Melbourne and Sydney, and we like threw to each other live, back and forth, like, you know, one.
I remember that.
One writer did a reading and then threw across to Melbourne. They did a reading, threw back again.
It's interesting you talk about that festival in that way, because that was kind of a, what's the word, sort of precursor to some of the stuff we do now.
Yeah.
And those ideas of switching and coordinating content from a centralised point that
absolutely.
necessarily isn't on site. You're not necessarily on site. COVID totally blew the doors off that. The work that we've been doing since COVID is night and day compared to what we were doing before. This remote working and remote switching and coordinating Zoom calls, coordinating live Zoom events.
Yeah, well,
especially check out what's it? Sorry, I've just drawn a blank. Western Sydney. Filmmakers online.
No. What you're talking about is the Western Sydney
online networking events.
Networking events,
yes.
Western Sydney Film. We have an amazing community. Actually, we've got an event coming up. It should be on a Wednesday or Thursday, probably at the end of July. I haven't set the date yet, but it's coming up in a few weeks' time.
Check us out on Facebook and Instagram, and you'll find out.
Any filmmakers out there who are interested in connecting with other filmmakers from Western Sydney, we'll be getting a whole bunch of people together. We usually get 40 or 50 people on a call. You get an opportunity to meet a bunch of people, like DOPs, actors, directors, a whole bunch of like blank musicians.
Well, it's
what am I thinking about? The original score. They're screen composers. That's the word that I'm looking for.
Everyone that's involved in making film.
Yeah, and it's a great opportunity to just talk about what everybody's working on, who needs help with stuff. Highlight some of the people who are doing great things out there at the moment, and get everybody together every once in a while. So we usually do that a couple of times a year. We took a bit of a hiatus in the first half of this year. We've been taking a break, which has been really lovely.
It has been lovely.
And so we're really keen to get everybody together in the next month.
Oh, look, you got to forgive us, guys. Like, we have a lot of content out there. We do a lot of events. We just needed a bit of a summer break.
Oh, well, the TV show got delayed. You said, well, this is the way
was
that I think
COVID
about
that
it.
derailed a lot of things?
Yeah, we were supposed to do the TV. We had 2 TV shows planned for the end of last year.
That's right. We didn't get the second TV. We got the second TV show done.
We've been hanging on to that 2020 TV show for 2 years, and we never got there.
I had that fucking. We had that revived 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and then and the 2021, it all got postponed till early this year. And so it just felt like last year's season kind of hung on for a couple of months longer than it normally would have.
Well, it's all shot and it's all edited now. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we've got our first draft
so
out.
Are we ready to share that soon?
Yeah,
Great.
totally.
Sorry, I've been away.
Well, no, we're gonna be putting it out on our channel soon, so check it out, Main the West TV. We interview Main the West winners.
Yes.
So we had Noel Vincent.
Yeah, Noel Vincent's amazing film Jane won Best in the West last year.
And Alex Donor.
Alex Donor, with A Girl's Best Friend, took home the Best Production Design and also the People's Choice Award for our at-home audience in the online festival.
And, of course, Rayanne Charmy.
Well, Rayanne Charmy couldn't make it. Serene Osmond was the singer and writer of the film. Rayanne is the producer. And their film, Towhead, was amazing.
Oh, amazing.
Best
amazing film.
Also, Audience Choice Award.
Oh, look, the only student film to ever get the Audience Choice Award. Yeah. And you've got to put that into context. Like that film is going up against some films. Like some films that are made in the West, are anywhere between $1,000 and $40,000. Some of these films, which is amazing that they, because you've got Screen Australia, Screen New South Wales.
I never spend time quantifying how much they cost.
Well, when you look at it. You know when you look at it.
As someone who didn't study film, like all I know is the production value's gone up considerably,
massively
in the last 5 years. Like, that's all I know is that I go...
But that's what you're going against.
And
she beat all of them.
Every year I think, oh, wow, like, these look great. The films coming out of Western Sydney at the moment are fantastic.
It's pretty ridiculous, actually, to be really frank. Like, what the fuck is going on with these artists and making this content? It's insane.
They're absolutely great.
It's literally insane.
And I love that there's such diversity.
Last year's films that didn't get in... would have been winners in the previous year.
Oh, totally. But I still love that there's such a diversity of films that are being submitted, right? So we get, anywhere up to 100 films each year, and they are a really broad range. There's still the student films that are really the first attempts student films, short, not very high production value, still got to work on script, all that sort of stuff, But then there's the middle ground who, as you say, they're the ones who would have won 7-8 years ago. They would have been at the top of the list. And then you've got the ones as well that are really starting to develop their skills and work in collaboration.
The transitions I've seen in some artists are absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
they're phenomenal. But it comes down to that networking. Again, it comes back to that communication. The key to success in the industry in Western Sydney and Sydney abroad is communication. It is networking. It is realising that you can be rivals, but really you want to be cooperative.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's some really cool rivalries out there. I'm not going to mention names, but you guys know who you all are. But with that said, I must say cooperation is way better. Look at what Here Out West has done. Look at Bina's work, Von. There's a lot of collaborations going on.
I love seeing different people working together and seeing this person's gone over here and they're it's fantastic to see everybody finding a way.
By the way, big shout out Bina. Bina is the shout out queen for the Pagey train. She always gets a mention.
Yeah, Bina's a one time, two time. She was I know she won Audience Choice Award, in 2017 with her Wild Dancers short film.
She's got a runner-up.
She's been runner-up before, and she's gotten a Best Actress nod one time, I'm sure. She has amazing work. A couple of short films. She's now working on her first feature. It's called From All Sides. If you're interested in supporting a local Western Sydney feature, she's got a crowdfunding running at the moment on ACF, Australian Cultural Fund. Go look it up. It sounds like it's going to be a fantastic story. She's a great writer.
Great writer, very good director. She's amazing. Oh, actually, I had the privilege of working. I was a cinematographer for her on a film years ago. It was one of the films that I actually got into Main the West for. Because I've entered Main the West like 10 times.
Sometimes you get in.
Sometimes I get in. I get in half. I've got a half.
I love that for you though. I love that for us.
I'm half successful.
That the guy who's running it can't even get it.
I can't even get in. I can't even get in it.
Film. I love that for you.
Well, it's. I like to tell that story because it just shows. Because the reason that Main the West is about, that's why I named it Main the West to signify that it's in Western Sydney, and that's okay. It's made in Western Sydney, and we are proud of that.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing in there I wanted was the separation of power. So the people that run it don't decide who the winner is.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to have that separation of
that
power.
I hate
it's very
the most
important.
about
I hate that about festivals. They
festivals
go,
and
oh man,
competitions.
it's rigged. You go, it's fucking rigged competition. You know what? You don't need to rig it. You just don't, like, because essentially all
the
you
audience doesn't care.
they don't give a fuck. They
They
don't care.
The best
They just want to be
film win.
entertained.
Yeah.
And well, that's the thing. That's where the Audience Choice Award is. If you don't agree with these judges, you have your own say.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it. It's this democratic process that has a separation of power. That hopefully it never goes to Maine the West's head, if that makes sense. Because Wayne the West, it's its own entity, right? I hope it never happens. I hope it never gets that breakdown of separation of power. I hope that separation of power remains, so that the film that won actually won.
Well, you and I are the separation of power. Let's be honest.
That's true.
So I'm the only one who knows the scores.
Yeah, I don't.
I keep it away from you. I keep it away from Jay because he chooses not. He wants the surprise. I keep it away from you. I keep it away from everybody.
Well, I deliberately want it away from me.
And I find it fascinating because the judges are so different.
Oh,
because
totally.
I know I give you like rolling score updates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I go, oh, such and such is winning at the moment or this. But it's so fascinating to see how one judge can think so highly of one film and another judge doesn't, and it just over the course of the week when those judges' scores come in,
you want that contrast.
They switch and change, but
you want that contrast, and that contrast is in the judging panel. You got documentary makers, drama makers, genre filmmakers, composers, screenwriters, actors, directors, and they're all esteemed, right? They're all of they definitely have something to say.
And it's hard to
space.
compare them sometimes. Like it's hard to compare a narrative film to a documentary to a music video and decide which one of those.
There is an arbitration in there. Like it is an arbitrary process.
We almost need a documentary category.
Actually, that's a good idea.
I'd love a documentary.
I think we need to. Well, it's the same as the music category. We were chasing it for years, and we finally got it. By the way, enter your music videos in Maine the West. Check us out at mainthewest.com.au.
We had some fantastic music videos last year. We had like 30
ridiculous.
local music videos come through in submissions.
The work that's coming through
down for the lineup
is insane. Again, the music video scene in Western Sydney is
I'd love to have a whole day. Excuse me, I keep knocking the mic.
Keep knocking the mic.
I'd love to have a whole day of like music programming. I'd love to get all of those artists in. Like if we, in my ideal festival world, we'd have multi-days, all the rest of it. And if we screened all the music videos and had like a separate sort of music video comp day, I'd love to get those artists in so we can have the live performances and stuff like that. I just think it'd be
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
we should look into that. Well, we have scope for that in the future. Watch this space. We haven't set a date yet for Made in the West. We haven't set a venue yet.
Oh, that's because, just found out the other day that Liverpool
under
Event
construction
Cinemas is going to be refurbished, and it's going to take at least another year to be able to finish that, 18 months perhaps.
Yeah, so Made in the West won't be at Liverpool this year.
Will not be at Liverpool. So
we are in negotiations. Don't panic. Don't jump out the window just yet. We do have...
Who even knows where we're going to end up in 5 months' time?
It's 50-50. It's 50-50, but we'll see how we go.
We don't know. We've got a couple of different options on the table. Anyone out there who runs venues in Western Sydney, if you're interested in helping us host Made in the West in the next couple of months, that'd be great.
But you guys know who you are. Let the bidding begin.
We've got a few places in mind, and what's interesting to me as as one of the core team who designs the event, I'm really fascinated about how the venue determines what's possible for us. We've had a few conversations about this in recent days in terms of like if we go here or if we go here, like what the options are, what's possible in those spaces. What does the space look like, and how does that determine what we can or can't do?
Flow is everything.
Yeah.
Flow is everything at an event like that. You need to have a start and middle point, and they need to flow between it. They don't need to be a straight line. But they need to have a flow system. They need to be able to float between. You need to be able to go to a foyer area where you can mingle, go back into a cinema, go to a bar, get a drink. That there has to be a model there that is comfortable and aesthetic. It has to photograph well, essentially.
And what other spaces are there available to us to do?
It's not many.
Other things.
There's not many. And those that are available are super expensive. They are really expensive. Putting on a festival this size takes a lot of synergy. It's super expensive to do if you did it as an outright cost. It's just not possible to do it as an outright cost. It has to be synergistic.
Well, not if we're funding it ourselves,
That's right. We're, all in all, the festival's a great thing, but we're still backyard tinkerers, man. It's just us.
Yeah.
It's just 3 of us doing it.
Yeah.
With the extended arm of
I
other
love
people.
it when people email me during the year and they're like, if you could just get your team to look at this. I'm like, my team.
My team.
I'll talk to you on the weekend. After I finish work.
After I finish work and finish this other thing. But speaking of finishing things, you're coming up close to finishing your PhD.
Totally in the last year. Yeah. Well, and going back to Digital Writers Festival, that's kind of where it all began. Thinking about the work that I did there back in 2017, thinking about how to translate Writers Festival events, particularly in conversation events, is what I was thinking about at the time. Writers Festivals are a unique kind of festival, right? It's different to a film festival. A film festival might translate to being online in a different way.
It does,
because you've got content that exists
it's
without being beholden to a person.
Yeah, it's
right?
more visual. It's not about the personality.
Yeah.
It's about the content.
But if you think about a
Writers
film
Festival is about the person that made the content.
But if you think about a film festival being online, even the way that we do our online festival,
which is kick ass, by the way. Don't forget to go and check it out. Buy a ticket.
It is. Even still, we tether it back to a person who is hosting. It's still live, right? It's still got that live
It's a
element.
TV-esque cross live scenario.
Yeah, and that's because
we pretty much do it like a football game.
Pretty
much it's like a football
If
game.
only we could have some sideline chats.
Yeah.
We do. We have red carpet chats.
We got red carpet chats.
Intermission.
Here we are
chats
down
with
at the red
filmmakers.
carpet, and we're just talking to some of the filmmakers here. Was it a good game, mate? Good game. Yeah. Oh, look, we went out there. We did our best. I'm just really proud of the guys that were a part of the team.
Nervous,
I was so nervous, but I'm really glad we got it over the line. I'm really glad. I'm really tired. I'm really nervous. Whew.
All right, back to the
game. All right, that was a really fantastic game, guys. I really, that's pretty much the model.
About it like a sporting match
It's
before,
pretty
but
much
that
like
is
that. It's the
very
same model.
true.
Well, that
Very
model
true.
fits. It's a TV model. It fits everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and I quite like what we've done in terms of that. We've kind of combined an online festival, online screening with a TV model. And I think that works really well. And the Writers Festival, any Writers Festival, is very much about the authors, not necessarily the books. They do readings and things like that, but it's much more about the authors. But what interested me was that the audience and the participants are all writers. And I find online spaces to be very text heavy. Especially if you're thinking about commenting, participating in online spaces, and particularly
ticking like and subscribing. That's what we're really talking about there, kids.
Yeah. Those are film people that you're talking to.
Yeah, I
you
know. Tick like, subscribe.
At the time, there was a lot of use of Twitter as a sideline space. Now they use Discord, and there's chats going on, on the side. So you end up with the, at a festival, you've got the foyer space, and that I'm interested in the social aspect of a festival. That's what I'm interested in. How do you create the scene, the festival scene, in an online space?
Yeah, how do you create that hype?
And to me, the answer has always sort of led me towards this multi-platform sort of setup, and it comes in the design. It comes in the design of the open spaces where people can enter and have a conversation and
keep talking.
Create and create something new within this open space, Yeah. And so
It's gonna die.
what do we got? We got battery problems?
I had to move a mouse, yeah.
Oh, right,
Sorry.
okay. That's right.
I normally have that mouse over here, and I forgot to bring it over. We've got another hour on it, though.
All right,
We're good.
Good.
Yeah, sorry, I was still listening.
My research is about how to design on online festival, right? And what was my case is from 2014 to 2019. So I was looking at the Digital Writers Festival, and I've done interviews with different artistic directors from around the country, looking at how they seek to translate a festival model into an online framework. Like, how do you conceive of that? That's what fascinates me. I'm interested in it from a curator's point of view, not so much the audience point of view, right?
Yeah.
How do you
they are totally separate. There is mergers.
Conceive of that space.
There are spheres that mix together. The public and the publisher. That sphere is merging.
Yeah.
But the curation, that's not real. There's no merging point there, really.
Well, and the curator has to.
Or is there?
In an online space, you have to partner, or you have to be someone who's quite technical, and you have to understand that technical environment. And a lot of festival makers don't understand the technical environment. And come 2020, that's where the pivot was a challenge for a lot of people, right? So we pivoted reasonably.
Check us out at Still Searching Productions, which can totally help you out.
We pivoted reasonably easily, you know. It was all challenging and all the rest of it.
So many plugs tonight. So many plugs.
We pivoted reasonably easily because we knew that we felt comfortable in that space. Right? We knew that it was possible to do something in that space.
That's true, yeah.
And in 2020...
We're actually excited about it, yeah.
We did things like, you know, we had contingency plans for a festival. Like, you know, we knew that, for example, with Made in the West, if we weren't going to run the in-person festival at the cinema at the end of November, then 1 week later we had the online festival as the contingency. And we even got all the finalists together for a little test rehearsal, remember? And we practiced awarding people their trophies and having a little mock interview with them.
Wargaming, I like this.
Yeah.
I remember this because I call it, we're wargaming
well,
this.
that's how the online networking came about, right?
Yeah.
Because we said, okay, well, if what we want is to run an online festival and we want to have a live component and we want to do live awards for people, then we need to get comfortable in that space,
totally.
right? So not only do we need to have a rehearsal 1 month earlier, when we know the finalists, we've got to get them all together and we've got to say, look, this is our contingency plan. If it all falls apart, this is what we're going to do, and enroll them in that idea. But we also, before that, need to practice. We need to have at least one go where we figure out what the hell we're doing in that space. You know, because we record it all in interesting ways in the background.
Well, it's an interesting model as well, because what we did was we merged a festival model with a TV model with a choose your own adventure model.
Oh yeah, that's my my 80s child choose your own adventure. Well, because coming out, because what the
better than Bandersnatch, really.
My thing with that, I loved Bandersnatch.
It's pretty good.
You know, you can find there's actually the graphic of the model of Bandersnatch online.
I haven't looked at that, no.
There's like the actual pathways and things. It's great.
Okay.
Anyways, well, the thing is that you don't know what people want to do. You can't assume in an online setting what your audience wants to do, right? Especially not in a networking environment, especially when you and I are pretty confident, right? I've been to online networking events before where they lob you into a room for 20 minutes with 3 other people and you have to talk for 20 minutes. That's hard.
That's a hard trot.
I've also been to online networking events where they lob you in a room for 10 minutes.
Keep them hungry.
And 10 minutes with 5 people actually goes really quickly, but it's hard. Like, you don't know. Like, the last one that I was in, nobody knew who would start. So I started. Right, of course I started. I said, all right, well, I'll go first.
You've been in spaces like that before, though.
And then I realised at the end of it that nobody knew who would go second.
So it goes from a choose your own adventure to an escape room.
So I passed to the next person. Shout out to Adam McPhail, who happened to be in my networking group. Oh,
big shout out, Adam, actually.
We both found ourselves in the same networking group. Thank goodness he was there.
But if you guys are looking for anything that's cinematography and you need a decent cinematographer,
he's great. He's a great dude.
He's great.
And so not only did we have to decide who was talking, we also had to throw to the next person. So because people don't mind talking as long as they know it's their turn to talk, right? So anyway, so when we were conceiving of how our online networking event was going to run, we had all these factors involved, like, do we want to be in a room for that long? You don't know. What if you end up in a room with someone you don't want to talk to for 20 minutes? You know, all these sorts of things.
It can happen.
So
you guys always dump me in a room.
I
always dump me in a room. Like, I
always dump you in the most challenging room.
Yeah. Ross can handle this because he can talk underwater.
Because I'm the master controller, right? I'm the one who decides who goes where.
Always dump me in a difficult room.
And you're always in the most
And now every time we go to a one event, online networking event, every time we go to that, people are going to know, like, oh, Misty's dumped Ross in here. We must be the awkward group.
No, you go. Well, sometimes some people are introverts, like, and some people need someone who
I do crack it open though.
Who can open up a conversation.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when we were thinking about our design, we were thinking about, well, how long can you be with someone? How many people do you want in a room straight up? Like 5 people straight up is hard, you know. So we start off with one-on-one for 2 minutes, right? You got 2 minutes with one person. It's amazing how quickly that goes.
It goes too quick.
It goes very fast.
Always goes too quick, but you want that though. It keeps you hungry.
But the point is, you go, okay, well, now I know how long it takes to introduce myself. I better be faster on the next one.
That's right.
So then the next one, 3 people. and you get 4 minutes, right? Oh, okay, great. Well, now we know we better get in quick. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to. Otherwise, we're not going to say anything. You know.
I basically just hijacked the whole conversation. That's basically what happens. I just hijacked the whole fucking thing.
Well,
scientists have done studies. It's been on a few episodes lately, and the centre of the universe is me.
Turns out it's
little
you.
Me. He laughs at his own jokes.
So the first. I laugh at you laughing at your own jokes.
That's why it's
I
funny.
I find that so amusing how
that's-
much you laugh at your own jokes.
I do. I've had a lot of time in solitude, man, and you just have to enjoy your own company.
Yeah. So the first half of our online networking events, we've got 45 and 45, right? It's a 90-minute networking event. We got a break in the middle because, you know, at the halfway point, you just go, I want to refresh my drink, I want to go to the bathroom, whatever it is. And some people want to walk away. Some people don't want to walk away. They just chat through the 5-minute break. But, you know, sometimes it's nice to be able to give that little exit just for a moment to
No, totally a recenter, yeah.
But yeah, all the breakout rooms in the first half are all very quick, and so the idea is that you start with one person, you build to two, you build to three, and then you build to four, and at that point you go, okay, now I kind of know, am I comfortable in pairs? Am I comfortable in a mid-sized group? Like, how comfortable do I feel with this? And in between that, you've got you hosting conversations with people, right? I'll throw to you, and then you end up,
the interviews.
You do little interviews with local people who are doing great things, and I love that. I love that. But it's all fast paced and it's very quick, right? I tell people who come along for the first time, prepare yourself. Like, it's going to move pretty fast.
Well, you want it to.
Yeah.
It's the same at the festival, right? Like I call it, you know, sponsor waterboarding. You know, the sponsor waterboard moment where you're at a festival, they're like, we'd just like to go and now thank our sponsors. At the end of the festival.
At a time.
One at a time. We're gonna be slow.
PowerPoint slides.
Yeah, like fuck, man. Why don't you just do this in bits and pieces throughout the whole thing?
Yeah.
Just get the show moving. But it's about that. You need that momentum, that drive.
I'm gonna be interested. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then when we come back from the break, you know me, I'm the poll queen, right? Love polls.
Yeah.
Love polls. There's nothing like testing your audience, right?
Data.
So you've got to get data.
Got to mine that data. It's valuable.
I don't want to be telling people to do something that they don't want to do. And so the polls for me are a way of me being able to check in and go, are you okay with where we're going, right? Are you okay with where we're at? You know, do you want to increase the group size? Do you want to decrease the group size? Like, do you want to go for longer? Do you want to go for less? Because I don't mind. And we don't want to do the same thing all the time anyway, right?
No.
So we want to mix it up. And so in the back half, so the first half is set, it's all quick, and we get to the mid break. And then in the back half, we go, all right, this back half is up to you. We've got, what do we got? 4 alternate endings now? We started off with 3. We've got 4 alternate endings now.
Yeah, but no one ever goes to my ending.
Yours
I always get upset about it. The movie pitch ending. No one ever goes for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's do a
It's
movie
creative,
pitch. A 7-minute movie
there's
pitch
a creative
in a minute.
option.
Then you've got 7
There's an
minutes to
option
pitch a 7-minute
with
movie.
like 2 like mid-sized groups for mid-length of time. There's one for a bigger group for longer length of time.
I missed out by one vote last time. One fucking vote. Whoever that vote was, fuck you, man. Actually, no. Like and subscribe.
It's probably me.
Well, I recently,
I don't get to vote.
Yeah, but I was like, for some reason, I was on your phone like a year ago, and I realised you hadn't subscribed to the Pagey train.
No, that's not possible.
Yeah, don't worry, I subscribed for you.
Subscribe for me. You took my phone. Subscribe for me.
Subscribe, tick the notifications.
Yes. So, back to the original discussion.
O&E.
Talking about the O&E was sort of an example. In the same way that the online festival is an example, our online festival, both of those two things are our way of solving the problem, which is how do we get people to enjoy a festival online? How do we get people to enjoy a networking event online, right? That was our digital pivot, right? But the Digital Writers Festival was doing that, 5 years prior to COVID and everybody moving online, and
that's what I mean. It's very precursor stuff.
And a few other of the big writers.
It was really exciting. I thought it was quite exciting.
A few other of the big writers festivals were doing online stuff too, but they were doing it differently. So there's sort of two directions that people go. They either do live streaming of live events and expand their audience, right? But it's still tethered to a place. It's still tethered to a location, or they actually engage online and build something within the online space, right? Both of those things are online festivals. They both have different costs involved. And they both engage audiences in different ways. One of them's more interactive than the other, but you can make the live streaming event more interactive in other ways. There are festivals that have live events at the other end of that live stream. You know, and then you can have small community events at the other side.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
or you
There's
can
a
get
lot of ways to
online.
do it.
And since
Again,
2020,
it's an exciting space.
you know, commenting online, things like that. But there's sort of like there's different levels of interaction too, right? You know, that you can comment or you can like that's like mid-level interaction. But you know, actually having a hand in determining the outcome, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the stuff that I'm interested in. I'm interested in how do you make it so that you're actually in that space with people and engaging in that space. And what I'm learning from that is that there's an element of control as a curator that you have to give up because you don't know what people are going to do in that space.
And I think that's
hard.
That's where that interface begins. Because like I was saying before, that publisher and audience. That's, you know, because you can comment on Twitter about the event that you're at, right? Now you're a part of the conversation. You're actually...
You can comment or you can live tweet. You're
no longer an audience member. You're now publishing in the space.
Then brings other people into... You know, I've followed festivals by following live tweeters before.
Yeah, that's right. Then you follow the follower.
And I remember one weekend I was at home and I was like, oh my God, there's like 3 festivals. There was like Queensland Poetry Festival, there was like Canberra Writers Festival and something else, one other festival, all happening on the same weekend. I was like, woohoo! I'm just watching everybody's tweets coming through from all 3. You know?
Yeah, so then you have this experience, right? And that's you're truly on the audience side of things, but you can engage with the conversation. You can talk to these authors. You can talk to these artists and be a part of the conversation.
Well, and it ends up as
the curator is the one with the power.
It ends up as this
but
secondary...
that digital interface allows that thing to sort of become more malleable and changeable.
And but it depends on the platform, right? This is also what I'm learning, is that it depends on the platform because those conversations that happen on social media are essentially secondary to the actual event. The event could still happen on social media, don't get me wrong. It could be a live conversation that happens on Twitter or Facebook or whatever it is, or Google Hangouts or Zoom, whatever, and then it's live streamed, and so that event is separate to the comment feed, right? And that comment feed is like a parasocial conversation that's happening. It's like this secondary space where you can meet different people in there that you would never normally have access to, and that's where it's exciting to meet the author, or exciting to have someone retweet you that you wouldn't normally have contact with, or whatever it is, right? So, but that sort of space is also becoming less interesting to us because we've been doing it for a while now, right? And then now, so it's constantly changing is I guess my point. Now I saw the other day that Twitter's just opened up spaces in the same, I'm only just starting to sort of investigate it, but it's a space where you can hear live audio, and there might be a conversation that's happening between 2 people that is scheduled, but anybody who's on the call can essentially be heard. So
interesting.
So it's audio driven, but it's live. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get over.
It's the spectrum that is forgotten about. The audio spectrum is totally forgotten about.
And the audio is
the most important. It's one of the most important.
And because that's where some of the challenges lie with some of the platforms, is that the audio doesn't allow 2 people to speak at once. You know, we all figured this out in early 2020 when we all ended up on Zoom and we were all trying to have conversations all at the same time. And then we realized, no, we actually have to be patient and wait for someone to finish talking before we cut in.
Change your Zoom settings. Make sure the Zoom settings work for your environment.
But you know, it depends on the platform. And so everything is platform specific, right?
Medium is the message, man.
That's right.
It's the Marshall McLuhan. It always comes back to it.
Ultimately ends up being the point is you can do whatever you want, but you have to know the platform, and that
platform's going to dictate how that message is.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of the appendage.
And where you might go wrong is thinking that you can just recreate the same thing across all the platforms.
Yeah. See, we've run into that a lot.
Yeah,
we really have,
and
it's
your
usually
audience is different.
And it's usually the bigger organisations as well that we've run into that with. Is like they don't want to be agile and pivot. They want to we just make money this way, and this is how we do it. And we've always been stressed about that. It's a very stressful situation. I'm like, well, that's a shitty. Like, first of all, why do you feel like that? And second of all, why wouldn't you want to be agile and adaptable? Why wouldn't you want to move with the times? And the times are moving fast. Like, legislation can't even keep up with, technology. Like, how do you think that the social spectrum of experiencing content, do you think that's going to be the same? It's not. It's clearly not. It's clearly changing.
It's changed in the last couple of years. And it's interesting how the pandemic has shifted how the ways in which we use. It's pushed us online in new ways, but it's also forced us to not be online in other ways, to disregard certain ways of interacting as superficial or time consuming in ways that they weren't before.
Yeah, but they're not, especially the superficial ways of interaction, like, body language, for instance. You could listen to this podcast or you can watch it, and those two experiences are different. You know what I mean?
Couldn't see my scarf though.
You can't see the scarf. By the way, you can have video on Spotify. Don't forget to follow. I think you can follow on Spotify. I think
you are terrible. How many
plug.
times a podcast do you drop that in there? Do you have the little
this
hands?
This one's been quite heavy.
Do you have the little hands that go like
plug heavy? This podcast.
Little but do you put the button in?
Yeah, no, I do. I have the little bell.
Yeah,
and,
great.
And the subscribe.
Good on you.
And I.
Oh, hey, you have to do it.
Well, I built my own graphics for. Well, not. I took the iHeartRadio and the Apple iTunes logo, and I may have changed it up a little bit to make it a bit more jazzy. But yeah, no, they're in there. But you got to say those things, because if you don't remind your audience, hey man, like if you're a first time listener and if you're liking this content, help me out, man. That subscription's everything to me.
Yeah.
Like getting a subscription is everything.
True.
Because from every one subscriber, I'm probably getting 5 views.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? And then you want to, and that's exponential. You want to grow that.
Yeah.
And then it comes from a really genuine place. Like, don't get me wrong. If the Pagey
you're not making any money on it.
I'm not making any money off this. If it ever did make money, that'd be great. Like, but it's not. It's not the reason I do it.
And all the people that are current subscribers would be like, I was there first.
Yeah, be a part of the first 1,000. Let's do this. Let's do this. No, but again, though, it comes down to. There's the. I was saying this on a show earlier today. Podcasting is an art. There's an artistry to it, and what you want to do is you want to be selfless, right? So I want to promote people. Like, obviously, we're promoting our festival and what we're doing, and we're promoting ourselves as artists. But I do that with any guest. I promote everybody because I believe that we should have these platforms to get our work out there. And but at the same time, it's selfish as well. Like, I'm building my own profile. My own profile grows out of that. But again, it's still not about that. I personally, like, my real selfish desire in this podcast.
You enjoy it.
Is I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I like talking to interesting people. Like, this is episode
111.
111.
111. That's so perfect.
111. Like, it is totally perfect.
Something great.
Yeah, 111 is, like, as I say, 1111. Big shout out to Soma Coma, which are the rap guys. They do a song called 1111.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. Brad, man, big shout out, bro. Yeah, that because every time you look at your watch, it's 111 or 1111. Every time I say 1111, I think of my beautiful wife, Misty, the vivacious Misty.
Is that because it's my star chart number?
I didn't know that. I don't know anything about that.
Any numerologist always goes,
whoa. Well, there's a lot of woo behind that, right? Like, numerology, like, you could look at it psychosomatically.
You keep saying that woo. I heard you say that earlier, and I feel like you've gotten that from Maria Tran.
I have, yeah.
Who is great, and she's doing wonderful things.
Oh, man, she is kicking ass.
She's doing wonderful things at the moment. Been living over in Vegas and doing, like, flying in and out of the States and doing some
just making movies all over the world, just being super awesome.
But she does that. She says, like, I'm just going to get a bit woo right now. Like, a bit woo-woo, like this.
Well, I think woo is another word for romantic. I do, actually, it's funny you say that. I do think a lot like her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did Operation Kung Flu with her, and it was my first big acting role.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Didn't you guys get runner-up best in the West?
I got a nom.
You got a nomination.
I got a nomination for Best
Supporting
Supporting Actor. I did. My first debut.
Yeah.
Got a nom. Check me out. You can find me out on Star Now, and you can.
One
find
day you're going to win. What am I going to do then?
Can't win.
You can't?
Can't.
Okay.
Just
yeah.
If the festival's ever to be rigged, it's rigged against me. No, look, seriously, no. If I did win, I'd want to take the prize, but I don't think that I would. There's just too much stiff competition out there, really. But working on her set, I thought, because I've always wanted to work on other directors' movies, because I know how I direct. And I get I generally get a lot of praise for the way that my style of directing. Apparently, I'm quite approachable, stern when I need to be, and I have a vision and I follow that vision, which is great accolades. Problem is, I hear about these other directors, these nightmare directors, and these other stylistic directors. I go, well, if I be an actor, I can go and figure out how they do it, and I can enhance my own directing abilities. So I go in this movie, work with Maria Tran, and she directs very similar to the way that I direct. I'm like, oh, fuck. We do think a lot alike. It was a great thing to discover, but then I was a little bit disappointed. I'm like, I was hoping you would be a bit of a different director from me. But you direct movies in a very similar way, in a collaborative way, but still stern. Like you go, oh, that's not working, because you got to making art can be quite brutal. And you've seen me do it. Like, I'm the worst at criticism, especially from those that are close with me. Like, I'm not changing that edit. Fuck you. No. You're going to fuck up the whole timeline.
You say no before anyone even says anything.
Yeah. I just go, nah. Whatever it is, no. Whatever it is, no.
Here it is, I'm giving to you, but anything that you say, I'm not going to take on board.
It's inert, right, it's invalid, fine. It's mooch.
My job here is done then.
Accept this content or not. But I have grown as an artist.
What it's allowed me to do is it's changed the ways in which I can broach, being constructive and
yeah. But again, though, I think you guys, we've.
Hey, I'm terrible at taking criticism too.
But I think we've developed though as a team. We've definitely developed.
Yeah, I've realised that I'm pretty good in the Main the West setting because it's not not where I consider my core talent to be. Right, I'm a writer. I didn't study film, so I'm learning in the film setting. Right, I run events and I build systems for events, and that's my work. Right, I'm confident in that space, but that's a really collaborative space. I'm still learning in that space too. But when it comes to writing, when it comes to phrasing words, thinking about how things will be received, I'm really interested in how meaning is made. In language, through language, and I know we always have big debates about what's more important: the film, the visual language, or the written language.
Yeah. Is it dialogue driven? Is it visually driven?
Yeah. But I think those things are really important, and that's where I think my skill lies. Right, and so I'm a bit the same too. Like, I'll always pass my work off to be proofed by somebody, but I'm a bit precious about my writing. I'm certainly precious about PhD chapters.
Yeah,
because you can get devastated by someone giving you.
It does get a bit personal. You try not to be personal with it. The strange thing is when I do corporate clients, not a problem. I have no problem with it. Sometimes I'll have a spit, go, this client's just fucking stupid. They've got no idea how fucking media is made. This is insane. I'm going to have to educate them because they're asking. Again, I was saying this before. We're in an image-rich environment. People just accept images. How hard can it be just to build a poster? Just go build a poster. How hard can it be? It's just Photoshop, right? No, that's a graphic designer, bro. That's someone that did massive amounts of study to figure that out. Oh no, just write a little jingle. Just do a little guitar track for that. That's fucking super hard, man. Being an artist, you got to come up with these ideas. People palm that off, and I think some clients go, well, I could shoot that on my iPhone.
Yeah.
Well, go shoot it on your fucking iPhone.
Or they say things like, we're going to do 8 interviews in a day. 4 in the morning, 4 in the other. So it's half an hour a piece, and we're going to move straight into the next one. There's no time factored in for setting up.
I had one guy, and you know who I'm talking about. I had one client who's like, "Can you shoot this any faster?" And this is what I said to him. I said, "Dude, I can work really fast, but I can't work faster than the speed of light. Just can't. It's laws of the universe. Because that's how cameras work, right? It works off accepting light into a lens. I can't work faster than that. It's the limit of the universe. I can't travel fast in the speed. I can't work fast in the speed of light. I can work up to the speed of light."
They wouldn't have known what to say.
He looks at me oh. I'm like, yeah, you're a fuckhead. Yeah. Hopefully he's not watching this shit. I just got really please hire me again. I'll take the money. No. No, but
there's a little bit of education.
I need you to do a 3-camera shoot. I need you to do a 3-camera shoot, but I'm not going to tell you that until you arrive.
One of the
I only brought one camera, man.
Stop.
Sorry, I'll stop.
One of the things that I think has been great in through 2020.
You've got to educate your clients. All my clients currently are really awesome, by the way. Just saying. So it's not a current client.
There's been a reframing of what work is. in the arts, right? It takes time and it takes effort to provide content, writing. I know you always sort of joke around about, you're doing it for the exposure and things, but that's a really big thing.
I've got a good recipe for exposure, actually. So you take a little piece of exposure, you put that in the microwave, you let that settle for 2 minutes, and then you stir it in a bowl, and then it's very nutritious. You can be fed very well on exposure.
Yeah, feed a family on that.
Feed a family on exposure. Yeah.
But I think... since 2020, and even so, like, we've taken it on board too. Like, we know that off the back of the last couple of years, which have been super challenging for artists, we know the importance of promoting not just work, not just recognition, but paid work. That's where that's what we're moving into. That's what we're interested in now, is how do we take this acknowledgement and turn it into tangible.
Last year was the first year we got to pay everyone at Made in the West. Yeah. And it was so satisfying.
It was really satisfying.
It was very satisfying.
It was the first thing on our list of things to do, right?
Yeah, that was the most important, is to pay everyone that's involved.
It's amazing. We've been running for 10 years through with a whole bunch of people who are just passionate about supporting what we do.
And we just enroll them in the idea.
And giving their time.
I never said to anyone, like, you should need to help me with this because you're going to get good exposure over it. Like, no, mate, this is what we're doing. We're having some fun. I can make sure that you get a free beer at the end of the night, and that's the best I can offer you, man. I'm just really love you, and I'd like you to help me.
You should see our bar tab.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I always pay that bar tab. I have a coin jar that I fill up. Yeah,
Jay, thank you.
No, he does that as well, but I do that as well.
Inspired us. Jay has the best coin jar.
He's a super saver.
Jay's great.
He's a ridiculous saver, that man.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
He's ridiculous. How do you save so well, bro? I have so many needs and wants and desires, Like, I've got this, like, globe of Jupiter upstairs.
Frivolous is what you are. You're frivolous.
I've got a telescope showing up soon.
Oh, I'm excited about your telescope.
I am too.
Tell me about it. Tell me about how big Jupiter is. So for a little bit of context, Ross took me on a first date years and years ago.
Second date.
True.
First date was to the handgun club.
To the gun club. Which was also very fun.
Yeah, no, I taught Misty how to double tap with a HNK 45 and a Smith Wesson 44 Black Hawk.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Nice gun.
Well, and so our second date was out seeing the stars, and I remember the lead up was so big. Like, we're gonna, like, the effort it takes to get out of the city limits, drive out there, get the telescope in, and of course you were super excited about how great your telescope was. And at the time, it wasn't even this telescope that you've got now. It was the generation before that, wasn't it?
No.
Or had you just
got No, I've bolted other things onto it.
And this is a pretty good telescope. Like, it's
a 6-inch Dobstonian. Yeah,
it's 6-inch, right? Yeah. Whereas most telescopes that most people look through are like 1.5 inch.
No, because you've got different. Small. Yeah, there's different styles of telescopes. So you've got Dobstonian, which are like the big light bins, and then you've got like I can't remember the. Wade, can you just quickly Google types of telescopes? So I'm just drawing a bit of a mental blank with that. But there's different styles of refraction and reflecting, how they do the mirrors. But the little 4-inch ones you're talking about are about the equivalent of a 6-inch Dobstonian.
Right.
They're the same. They do the same image.
Well, either way, it was a bit of a, like, it wasn't a letdown. I would never say that was a letdown, right? But when I got there, I literally said to you, "Oh, it's so small." I was looking.
The amount of times I've heard that in my life, Jesus.
I was literally looking through the telescope and going, "Oh, these are refracting telescopes and Newtonian telescopes."
Yeah, so the Newtonian ones that you're talking about.
Schmidt-Cassegrain.
Yeah, the Schmidt-Cassegrain telescopes are a mixture of the Dobstonian and the Newtonian.
And so the one on the right with the straight.
That's a little. That's
in the middle. Inch, that's kind of like what you've got.
Yeah, that's that's a Dobbs. Yeah, no, the one I've got is see that Saxon there, Wade, on the right.
Saxon. Oh yeah, the tripod and the black one on the right.
That sucker there. That's the one I've got. Oh, it's not exactly the model, but that's similar to what I've got.
And so that is
but a bit more flash than that. But that's generally the gear. Yeah.
And that looks pretty big to a newcomer like me. That looks pretty big, right?
Yeah.
But the size of the planets is something like this.
If you look through that with a 12 mil lens, maybe even a 6 mil, you may see Jupiter maybe the quarter of the size of a pea.
Can you get Wade to Google the telescope that's coming?
Yeah, I will in a second.
Yeah. So anyway, so here we are. We've got it.
It's about the size. It's about a quarter of a size of a pea.
Yeah. It's tough.
In an aperture. So if you look through something that's the size of a 20-cent coin, and it would be the quarter of a size of a pea inside that coin.
Yeah.
So imagine the 20-cent piece as the aperture, and then this little.
And as somebody who increasingly needs her glasses throughout the day, like it's just getting harder and harder to see.
Yeah, but
right?
then I whack the iPhone on it, right? Because then the iPhone becomes the viewer, and I can zoom in on it.
Yeah, and we've always said that. Like I think that idea sort of started with me coming along, like, well, maybe what I can do is I can take this and put it onto a laptop. Remember how we said that? We could view it through a laptop screen and whatever, right?
Yeah.
But it's great through the iPhone too, because I don't have to focus on the tunnel thing.
It's amazing what you can do with an iPhone.
Yeah,
amazing.
So I love
check out my Facebook page. You'll see.
I love the idea of you getting this really big telescope because, of course, for me as someone who's just there to view the planets and have a look at what you're viewing, it's gonna be
all
great.
Right. Wait. Look up 16-inch Dobstonian.
So if a planet was like a quarter of a pea before. How big is it going to be now? It's going to be a pea, which I'm very excited about.
So if you look through a 20-cent piece, you'll see it at the size of a pea.
4 times as big.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit bigger than that, actually. What have we got? What are you doing, man? Dobstonian.
Dobstonian.
Not cop syndrome. What have you written there?
Don't spell shame him.
I'm not spell shaming. Dob. Just delete that word, whatever that word is. Just write Dob.
Dobstonian.
Get rid of that word. And then it'll show up. There it is.
There
okay.
You go. Oh, wow.
16-inch Dobstonian.
That's a bit different.
Oh, yeah, it's the one on the left. It's the Skywatcher 16-inch.
Yeah, wow.
The one on the left.
Go one over to the left.
More left.
Yeah, right.
That one there. That's it there.
Click on that. Wow. It's got a whole bunch of empty space in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have there's a cover that I put around that.
I was expecting a big old barrel.
That's the sucker right there. So that's 16-inch. So that will.
That's massive.
Huge telescope. So that stands 2 meters tall. If you hit the next image there, Wade, see the little arrow? Hit the next image. See, there's the perspective of it. So you've got the 16 inches
Which
tall.
Which one's you?
The one. See the person?
Yeah.
I'm the one next to the person. Yeah, it's fucking huge.
That's going to be amazing.
But that's a single frame, though. That's a single frame. So that's a single frame. Like I'll be able to see Jupiter as the size of a pea at a single frame. So that's a non-stacked image.
That's great. And I know we'll get into astrophotography in just a second because I know you got some really cool plans on that. But I remember being back in Perth in my raunchy days. At the back there was like in the side car park they used to have sky watching groups, like star watching.
Oh yeah, stargazers,
groups, and they had one of these big old ones.
Yeah,
and
totally.
When I walked
it's
past,
a custom built. I had to have that. You have to have that built for you.
Whenever I walked past, I was like, "Give me a gander." That's just big enough for me to go, yes, let me have a look.
Yeah, it's literally night and day. No pun intended. But if you see with the Dobstonian, with that Dobstonian, right, what I've learnt since buying that telescope and having it built, you can do the same thing with a refractor telescope that's smaller and do image stacking. So what I want to do is my next rig, what you got to do is get an equatorial mount. Mm-hmm. Which will actually follow the horizon in real time. And
that'd be good.
It's called, anything below 2 arc seconds is what they refer it to. So arc, as in like arc, and 2 arc seconds.
Because I didn't realise that would happen. Like, as a newcomer to the process, you get it in the shot, and then like within 10 seconds or something, it's starting to move out.
Jupiter is fucking fast, man.
Yeah.
Do you know that Jupiter, like you can fit 1,000 Earths inside Jupiter, right? Mm. Jupiter spins in 10 hours. It does a full revolution. Like not around the sun, obviously, but in one day on Jupiter is 10 hours on Earth. But it's 1,000 times the size.
That's quick.
It's fast. It spins. You can actually watch it spin.
Did your hair blow back while you're on there?
Well, the winds there travel at about 300 k's an hour, so yeah, it does blow back. But when you look at Jupiter, you can actually watch it as it goes through the aperture, and you can actually see it turn. It does turn. You can see it turn in real time. If you watch it long enough, you can watch it turn in real time. I think you can only get 1,000 frames of it before you get degradation. Yeah, because it will actually be in a different position. But you can actually see the moons. That's the beauty about it. Like when you show kids that's the thing that I really like about astronomy, is showing that nephews, godchildren. Showing them images of Jupiter.
Yeah.
You point to the sky and you go, see that dot? you can now see the surface of
Big
it,
planet.
and you can see these moons that are orbiting around it. You've got Io, Ganymede, Callisto, Ganymede.
So
Got the fourth one. Ganymede's a big moon.
Say Ganymede twice.
Ganymede, Callisto, Io,
Europa.
Europa.
I can't believe I remember before you.
Oh, she got me.
It's because of that poster in the bathroom.
Got me. Yeah, well, I do have that poster in the bathroom of the moons of the galaxy of the solar system.
Nerd status.
Yeah, but no, it's a lot. I find astrophotography a lot of fun. It's something that I find meditative and peaceful.
I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of that. And particularly as you play with not only the type of telescope that you've got, but the type of camera that you use. I think that'll make a big difference.
I don't have I've got it's called a ZWO, a ZWO. I haven't got that yet.
Right.
It's another bit of a larger expenditure. Like, I had to buy this telescope. I had to pay it off over a year, man. It's like a big purchase, right? But I've been hankering and looking at this thing for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I sold my car to buy this telescope, essentially. But I want to get another rig as well. I want to get something with an equatorial mount, and I want to take them both for a drive every time I go and photograph something.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, look, it's one of those. It's certainly a nerdy hobby of mine that I really enjoy. I really do enjoy it. Like, I bought that telescope for $1,000 off a big-breasted lady from National Geographic a long time ago. Well,
had nothing to do with the breasts.
Well, it did, really. I know, because I was walking past this store and I saw this hot bird in the store. I'm like, I'm going to go in there and just have a look around. Then all of a sudden, she starts talking to me about telescopes. And then I walked out with a telescope and like, she fucking got me. She got me good. But then
How often must that happen?
Yeah, well, that's the world of sales, man. If you got the gift of gab and you know how to, dangle the carrot, man, you know how to make a sale. Like, I've caught myself doing it, man. Like, in different ways, how to leave a sale and how to get what you want.
Oh yeah, I was talking to a friend the other day who got half price lunch. The waitress, and as I delved deeper into the conversation, I was like, "Were you flirting with this waitress by any chance?" Maybe there may have been a little bit of flirting happening.
Turn on the charm a little bit, get your discount, Yeah. Compliments go a long way. Yeah. But yeah, no, definitely though. Not that I've done a lot. I did a lot of sales earlier in my life. Not that I've done a lot of it lately, but yeah, any lever to get a sale, really. Within the realm of what's reasonable, of course. I wouldn't go chasing a grandma down in the car park going, "You want a credit card?" I don't think I'd do that. But you definitely got to put on the charm, and that's a part of sales, right? Politeness sells, sex sells, intellectual ideas sell. All of these things sell.
Exciting words.
Sell. Yeah, they do. But look, I think we're really close to the end. Let's do
Where can you find me?
Where can we find us? We can find us on mainthewest.com.au.
Yes, absolutely. You can find us at mainthewest.com.au. We'll be giving out some details pretty soon about the event and where we're going to land in terms of venues.
Check out our blogs. We've got great blogs.
But we've got some submissions already coming in, which is good.
I think we've got like 10 or something already.
Early bird closes at the end of this month, July 31st. So if you've already got a film in the works or that you've made in the last year, submit it now so that you can get the nice cheap spot. But submissions are open until the 25th of October.
That's right. Well, basically, submissions only close for a week a year, and that's during the festival.
Yeah,
we open them straight away.
And yeah, we're really looking forward to a good event. And hopefully I'll be able to come back on in a couple of months and tell you some more details about
it's going to be a hoot.
What it's going to be like.
It's going to be a hoot of an event. It's our 11th year. We've come so far. We've got such a great cohort of artists. Look, if you're not a filmmaker, just come along and watch these movies. I've got to fucking tell you, like, they're fucking insane, man. They are insane.
It's a good night out. It's a couple of hours of short films and good fun. A really great crowd, really supportive crowd. Lots of cheers, lots of laughs.
Yeah, and a couple of bevies and a couple of an opportunity to celebrate Western Sydney artists.
Yeah, very much so.
But Misty, it's so good to have you on the show. It's
Thanks
great to have you back from Perth. Welcome home.
Thank you.
But guys, you've been watching the Pagey Train. You can check us out on Spotify. That's right, video on Spotify. You can also check us out on YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to click and subscribe and tick for notifications. But if you're an avid listener, you can check us out on iHeartRadio or Apple iTunes. Guys, you've been watching the Pagey Train, and we'll see you next time. Sonic Boom, babe. We done it.
Yeah. Well done.
Baby, baby, baby.
Signed, sealed, delivered.